This world is a ruthless slaughterhouse, where the strong feast and the weak bleed out in the dirt. Here, only the elite predators thrive amidst the carnage, drinking their fill of survival while others perish. Deep within the shadows of a dense forest, a deer grazes peacefully, oblivious to the hungry eyes tracking it. Hidden in the brush, the hunters have already locked onto their target. Our main character readies his weapon. Ignoring the whispered advice to keep cool, he draws his bowstring taut, focusing his soul into one lethal strike. At his partner's signal, he releases, sending a deadly shaft whistling toward the unsuspecting, defenseless beast. But just as he fires, a thunderous crack shatters the silence, spooking the animal right before impact. The veteran hunter bellows his name in frustration. Johann. The boy just offers a clumsy, embarrassed smirk in return. Clinging to a snapped bough while his master rants about the failure, Johann tries to talk his way out. He claims the bow was flimsy, but his master snaps that the thing was brand new just 7 days ago. Tearing up, the old man complains that a high-born noble like Johann has no business playing hunter. He insists the kid should have mastered the blade instead. As the nagging continues, Johann falls silent, his face turning cold and serious before he finally speaks his mind. He points out that being a swordsman doesn't pay the rent without a contract. Surprisingly, the master actually agrees. They head to a new hunting ground as our hero reflects survival in this trash world requires cold, hard cash. His name is Johann Eich, a soul reborn into this grim reality after a fatal accident in his previous life. Though he's technically a noble, he's the family's lowest-ranked member, destined to inherit absolutely nothing but air. Suddenly, his partner's warning cuts through the air as a pack of vicious wolves lunges at them with fury. They gnash their razor-sharp fangs, closing in on the two hunters in the clearing with zero hesitation. Terrified, the old man bolts, leaving Johann alone. Yet, our protagonist remains eerily calm, lost in thought. He contemplates the brutal reality of this world, a dark, hyper-realistic version of a cruel medieval nightmare. This land is so unforgiving that even the dead find no peace in the desolation that surrounds them. His companion wonders if these corpses belong to their village, but Johann knows it's impossible to be sure. The young noble realizes the ultimate truth in this world. The weak only exist to satisfy the hunger of the strong. Clenched fists and glowing eyes signal his resolve. He refuses to be prey and screams his true desire aloud. All he wants is a mountain of gold. He recalls hoping for a cheat skill or status window upon arrival. Since no system appeared, he pivoted his entire focus to one thing, getting absolutely loaded with currency. He dreamed of escaping this territory to become a wealthy merchant. But while he's daydreaming about profits, his master interrupts, calling him over to inspect a rare, valuable medicinal herb known as imp's grass. It's a powerful clotting agent. Johann instantly snatches the plant from his master's hand. He's already calculating the insane profit, giving a creepy, greedy smile while thanking his master for the easy money. His partner is left stunned. Seconds later, Johann spots a mysterious small pouch lying on the forest floor. He asks if his master dropped it, but the veteran hunter denies it, finding the discovery incredibly suspicious. No one sane wanders this deep. Suddenly, the hunter's face pales as a terrifying realization hits him. Both men freeze as an eerie, guttural sound echoes from the pitch-black depths of the surrounding trees. Out of nowhere, a blood-curdling scream for help rips through the forest as someone stumbles blindly through the brush. Caught between haunting cries and hungry growls, the two hunters stare into the darkness in horror. They spot a terrified little girl trapped in a tree, surrounded by a bloodthirsty pack. The master identifies Dell. She's Robert's kid, but why is she here? These wolves look massive and way more aggressive than normal. Snarling and snapping at the girl, the beasts are relentless. The hunter panics, claiming they're hopelessly outnumbered. He suggests retreating to find help. But Johann blocks his path and steps directly toward the snarling predators. Shocked, Joseph screams that it's suicide since these monsters hunt humans for sport. But our hero is unfazed. Johann remains cool, telling his partner he'll draw their attention while the old man grabs the girl and runs. The hunter is floored. Why would a high-born noble risk his life as bait just to save a common villager? Little does he know, Johann is wearing a devious grin. He sees a literal gold mine starting with 10 wolves. He is already tallying the fortune from those pelts. Wearing a massive, greedy smirk, he prepares to face his fluffy little paychecks. Watching the kid's bizarre vibe, his partner stands there frozen, completely losing the plot. Johann draws his blade with a funky stance, making Joseph cringe at his seemingly amateurish skills. No hesitation, the beasts lunged. But Johann becomes a blur of motion, diving straight into the heart of the frenzy. Steel meets fur as he tanks the first wolf's savage charge with a heavy block. The beast clamps its jaws onto the cold metal, desperate to snap the blade like a twig. Pressure mounts until crack. To Johann's shock, the sword shatters like glass under the wolf's insane biting force. Before he can blink, another predator ambushes his blind side, jaws wide for a lethal bite. Total carnage erupts. Johann is swallowed by a sea of fur and teeth in a brutal ambush. Joseph's face pales. He screams Johann's name, certain the kid is a goner. Cut to a different world. In the 8th territory, the high and mighty nobles are making their rounds. They roll into Baltruden village with a massive flex. The filthy peasants bow, trembling as the elites pass. An old man clutches a terrified child, shielding her from the crushing weight of their miserable reality. Madame H., a haughty concubine, gags at the revolting stench of the commoners crowding the path. Philip VIII, the eldest heir, just stares ahead with cold, stone-faced indifference. Lord Jason VIII joins in the trash talk, calling the entire village a stinking, pathetic wasteland. Philip notes Johann is missing and offers to send a squad to drag him back. Jason absolutely loses it. His youngest son missing during a royal inspection? Pure disrespect. He barks that he does not give a damn if Johann rots in a ditch just like his mother. Spewing venom at his absent son, Jason suddenly yanks his horse to a sharp, unexpected halt. He spots a massive hay pile and demands answers. A villager drops to his knees, begging for mercy. They hid Johann's training traps because they looked like trash. Jason scoffs at the word training. He calls his son a pathetic bug, but as he looks closer, his smug face completely drops. Under that hay lies a graveyard of wooden logs, shredded by the force of insane strikes and kicks. Jason is floored by the absolute destruction. What kind of monster did this? Meanwhile, back in the woods, Johann is pinned. The pack tears into him, but as one wolf leaps for the kill, it freezes midair. Johann grabs the beast's jaw, whispering that swords were always just for show anyway. With beastly strength, he yeets the wolf away, sending the entire pack into a panic. Johann smirks. It's time to play by his rules. These aren't monsters, they are just walking ATMs. It's a dog-eat-dog world. To avoid being the prey, you need cold, hard cash. And to get that bank, he needs pure heat. As the wolves lunge, he clenches his fist tight. Unleashing his true form, he knows he needs power that shatters every human limit imaginable. Joseph is shook. He cannot wrap his head around the absolute unit standing before him. One clean punch. Johann's fist connects with a wolf's face before the beast even realizes it is cooked. The shockwave is massive, sending the surrounding pack flying like ragdolls through the trees. He snatches another wolf by the throat, radiating a terrifying, monstrous level of physical dominance. In one brutal, lightning-fast motion, he delivers a final, decisive blow to the helpless predator. The wolf hits the dirt, stone dead. Joseph just watches from the shadows, completely mind-blown. The old hunter cannot fathom this godlike strength. Amidst the carnage, Johann just gives a chilling smile. He is just thinking about the payday. He learned young that life was not going to be sunshine and rainbows. His older brothers were constant menaces, calling him a motherless bastard and dragging him through the dirt. Using their high status as an excuse, they used him as a human punching bag whenever they pleased. Face down in the mud, young Johann saw the world's true, cruel colors. No one was coming to save him. He realized then, the only person he could count on to survive this hell was himself. With that dark resolve, he began his master plan. Survival in this brutal medieval era was a gamble. But our hero held a hidden ace, the memories of a modern student. His mind overflowed with futuristic concepts that locals couldn't even fathom in their wildest dreams. Leveraging every scrap of data, he launched a hardcore training arc, fueling his body with a precision-engineered superfood diet. Observers gawked as he pioneered a workout routine rooted in cutting-edge sports science. He mastered close-quarters combat through years of relentless grind. After a decade of pure dedication, a buffed-up Johann could now pulverize massive trunks with one strike. His cold, focused gaze reflected the fruit of his labor. The raw power behind his fists was straight-up broken. He could literally uproot trees with his bare hands. Every session pushed his physical limits into the realm of monsters. Feeling reborn among the splintered wood, he questioned, was this titangent-like power a gift or a curse? Fast forward to now. In the shadow-drenched woods, a low snarl pierces the silence following the bloody skirmish. Our hero catches his breath, glancing at his blood-stained knuckles while recovering from the beastly slaughter. Surveying the mangled wolf carcasses, he figures he's wiped out the entire pack. Nearby, Joseph clutches a sobbing Dell, her tears flowing from the sheer relief of escaping death. Though safe, Joseph looks absolutely drained. He turns to Johann, his face twisted in a scolding frown. He barks that Johann was reckless, but his voice softens as he truly thanks the teen for saving Dell. Oblivious to the lecture, Johann is busy calculating which wolf hide will net the fattest payday. Did you say something? He asks, checking Dell for injuries. Suddenly, the girl's pupils shrink in pure terror. Her face pales. Looming behind them, a colossal shadow with glowing crimson eyes unleashes a bone-chilling roar. Johann and Joseph spin around, baffled, as Dell hides her face. too terrified to look. Fangs bared and eyes burning with rage, a mountain-sized wolf steps out of the gloom to face Johann. It's the Alpha. Joseph loses it, screaming in panic as he realizes they're facing a true demonic beast. Run! We need an army for this, Joseph yells, grabbing Dell, but Johann just smirks at the beast. So, you're the big boss? He quips, apologizing for thrashing its subordinates. Your furs are worth a fortune, though. The behemoth glares at the boy with murderous intent, its eyes pulsing with a sinister red light. Johann sees the predator look in its eyes and smiles. The monster unhinges its massive jaws, unleashing a thunderous roar that shakes the woods. Completely unfazed, Johann blitzes toward the creature. I don't care what you are, he yells, hoisting a massive boulder from the dirt. Your hide is going to make me rich. With insane strength, he hurls the rock like a cannonball. Crack! It slams directly into the wolf's skull. The beast howls in a mix of agony and sheer rage. But Johann is the one who's mad. Damn it, I scratched the fur. The market price is going to tank now. Eyes burning with pure malice, the Alpha locks onto Johann with a lethal snarl. Then, the beast lets out a shockwave howl that feels like it's ripping the forest apart. The sonic blast is agonizing. Johann clutches his ears as the sheer volume threatens to burst his eardrums. Joseph shields Dell, trying to muffle the roar. Johann grits his teeth, his body reeling from the vibration. The howl hacks his brain. Dizziness washes over him, and his vision warps. What's happening to me? Boom! A jagged memory of two legendary swordsmen clashing strikes him like lightning. The vision is so visceral that Johann screams, feeling the phantom agony of an era long forgotten. He hits the deck, gasping for air. His mind is a chaotic mess of confusion. Blinking away the fog, he looks up, but the massive wolf is gone. It's just, poof. The Alpha vanished into thin air. That's when he spots Joseph and Dell slumped on the forest floor. They're out cold. Johann rushes over, breathing a sigh of relief when he realizes they're only sleeping. The danger is gone for now. Confused but determined, he hoists Joseph up to begin the trek back. More predators could be lurking. Johann slings the hunter over his shoulder and disappears into the midnight woods. He grumbles about leaving those valuable furs behind, but vows to return with a cart later. Under the pale glow of the full moon, he trudges through the eerie forest as village lights flicker into view. He wonders if the search party is hunting for Dell. A flicker of hope ignites. Maybe today, his father will finally show him some respect. In his mind, he's already being hailed as the rightful successor before the entire clan. But he quickly shakes it off. That's just a pipe dream. If nothing else, securing a lowly spot in the local guard would at least keep his stomach from growling. But as the village gates loom closer, the atmosphere shifts. His smug expression vanishes, replaced by a sudden, chilling dread. Torches slice through the midnight gloom, exposing a massive, silent crowd waiting in the shifting shadows. Suddenly, he's staring down his family's elite inspection unit. Armored warhorses and grim-faced soldiers are everywhere. Johann freezes. His heart sinks into his stomach as the sheer scale of this disaster finally hits home. Philip's voice cuts through the air like a whip. He demands to know where Johann's been hiding while their father was on the warpath. It clicks. The grand inspection. Johann realizes at that very moment he's absolutely cooked. Towering above on a massive horse, his father glares down with lethal disdain, branding him a worthless, insolent brat. The great lord leaps from his saddle, his heavy greaves hitting the dirt with a thud. Johann carefully sets Dell on the ground. Johann stammers out an excuse about an emergency, but his father's icy, murderous stare shuts him down instantly. Jason barks for silence, his hand tightening around the grip of a massive, intricately detailed battle axe. The patriarch's rage boils over as he threatens to cleave Johann's skull for his blatant and daring disrespect. Flickering orange light from the soldiers' torches casts long, dancing shadows over the deadly midnight confrontation. Philip keeps piling on, mocking Johann for treating their father's authority like a joke by vanishing during the event. The gravity of the situation finally settles in. He'd completely blanked on the one day he couldn't afford to miss. His father's words are pure venom, calling him a pathetic, immature disgrace to their noble bloodline. Jason stalks forward with heavy, threatening steps, radiating a murderous intent that says things are about to get ugly. Johann opens his mouth to justify his actions, but the words die in his throat before he can even start. Jason heaves his axe upward, roaring that he'll crush Johann's pride along with his arrogant head. Inside, Johann is fuming. He just crawled back from the brink of death only to get a lecture from this old man. Losing the pelts stings, but then a sly grin tugs at his lips. This disaster might actually be his lucky break. Johann switches gears, claiming he wasn't slacking. He was playing the hero and rescuing civilians from the dark woods. Right on cue, a desperate cry erupts from the crowd as a man rushes toward the unconscious little girl. Weeping with joy, the man gathers Dell into his arms, sobbing prayers of gratitude for her safe return. He clutches his daughter tight, the agonizing hours of the search finally ending in a flood of relieved tears. Johann seizes the momentum, spinning a tale of how he single-handedly fended off a ravenous wolf pack to protect her. Whispers of awe ripple through the village as Johann declares he was simply upholding his duty as a true knight's son. He gives a perfectly timed, respectful bow, vowing to dedicate his very life to the safety of the estate. Then comes the kicker. He demands the captaincy. Philip's face turns a brilliant shade of purple with pure rage. Johann's inner monologue is a total victory lap. He really just turned a death sentence into a massive self-promotion. Jason's voice drips with sarcasm as he calls him captain. Fine, he sneers. So where is the concrete proof of these wolves? Johann's heart skips a beat. He's furious. He didn't think the old man would actually ask for receipts. Plastering a confident, if slightly forced, smile on his face, he doubles down on his heroic narrative. He goes for the gold, claiming he even crossed blades with the legendary Great Dark Wolf. The crowd is left in shock. That did it. Jason's face contorts into a mask of pure fury. That blatant lie about the legend was the breaking point. Jason roars, thunderous and terrifying, threatening to tear that lying tongue right out of Johann's mouth. Beads of sweat roll down Johann's neck. Desperate, he throws out a challenge. Fine, then test my skills in a duel. Without hesitation, the Lord orders the arena cleared and commands his son to draw his cold steel. Jason's eyes narrow. He wants to see if Johann's sword is half as sharp as his lying mouth. He drops a bombshell. This is a live weapons duel. No blunted practice blades. Johann's blood runs cold with surprise. Philip thrusts a blade toward him, hissing that he should start begging for mercy if he wants to survive this. But Johann's pride won't let him bend. A real man doesn't tuck tail and run, no matter the odds. Shoving Philip aside, Johann steps forward with a smirk, while Jason slowly lowers his menacing battle helmet. Tension thickens as they face off. Johann is desperate for a shred of respect from his old man. Proving his worth is everything. Eyes sharp, he locks onto his target. One fight to decide his destiny. Suddenly, Gazen's expression shifts into utter shock. A terrifying crimson energy surges from Johann's blade. Gazan can't believe his eyes. Johann lunges, his steel slamming into the massive axe. The collision is absolutely bone-shattering. Gazan's axe head begins to splinter. That raw power ripples straight into the Lord's grip. A pained grunt escapes him. The shockwaves reveal the sheer intensity of Johann's hidden strength. Gazan recoils, digging his heels into the dirt to halt his retreat. Rage boils over. Gazan can't handle the sheer disrespect from his youngest brat. Losing it, he swings his axe, screaming insults. Johann takes the full brunt of the strike. Pain surges through his veins. His brothers watch in horror, realizing their father is out for blood. He might actually kill him. The old man roars that Johann was never worth training. He was born a failure. The insults keep flying, telling the boy effort changes nothing. He'll never be superior. Gazan's losing his mind, shrieking that this land belongs only to him. Bleeding, Johann wonders if the booze finally pushed his father over the edge. Warm blood blurs his sight. Then, Philip's desperate scream cuts through the chaos. Fear grips Philip's face. Johann is stunned. Why would his brother care now? Ignoring the confusion, he stares his father down with unbreakable resolve. Even cornered, he won't fold. The villagers watch, paralyzed by the sheer brutality. With zero gas left in the tank, Johann catches the axe with his broken blade. Metal screeches and sparks rain down as they enter a final, desperate power struggle. But the steel snaps. Disarmed and broken, Johann falls to his knees in the dirt. Defeat tastes bitter as his sword lies in ruins. Gazan towers over him with a sneer. He tells the boy to learn his place and stay down forever. One more challenge and he'll crush his skull for real. The cruel lord turns away. He leaves his son in the dust, humiliated. The crowd encircles Johann in heavy silence. Pity burns in their eyes. Nearby, whispers spread about how twisted Gazan's actions truly were. It was pure malice. Inside a chapel, a blond man fumes. Father Valbert demands honor, questioning how a parent could be such a monster. Johann gets patched up, faking a smile and joking that at least he's still breathing. Valbert rants about Gazan's cowardice and intoxication. Johann just sighs, facing the cold truth. He's weak and lacks formal training. Valbert reminds him that his father is a seasoned veteran. He holds family secrets. Valbert mentions a legendary knight from the neighboring lands, a man who wiped out 300 soldiers solo. Johann is floored by that level of power. Unreal. Johann realizes skill matters most. He totally underestimated his old man's prowess. At the mention of the Black Wolf, Valbert's face drains of all color. He grips Johann's shoulders, frantic to know if the legend is actually roaming the woods. Johann nods. Joseph and Dell saw the beast too before they blacked out. The priest falls into frantic prayer while a confused Johann just watches. Valbert snatches an ancient tome, eager to show Johann the terrifying truth. He reveals that these wolves are the ultimate taboo, feared for generations. The pages depict a grisly scene, a wolf dragging a human corpse away. They are omens of absolute ruin. Legend says their appearance always heralds total devastation. They bring only misery. Johann falls silent, letting the dark history sink in. He's skeptical, but maybe the beast was a dark omen of today's disaster. The cleric nods with a reassuring grin, dismissing the chilling wolf tales as nothing more than dusty old folklore. He credits divine favor for his noble spirit, leaving Johann stuck with a forced and incredibly awkward smirk. Our hero questions his own virtue, knowing deep down that his only true devotion is to cold, hard cash. Meanwhile, a literal hellscape begins to unfold near the Eighth Estate within the barony of Brits. Choking smoke and dancing flames swallow the air as agonized shrieks of pure despair echo through the night. Amidst the carnage, a terrified mother shields her child, her desperate cries for mercy lost in the absolute chaos. Her prayers fall on deaf ears as an unspeakable horror looms over the two trembling, helpless souls. In a flash of cold steel, their lives are snuffed out, leaving only a lifeless hand reaching out in silence. A pale limb rests in the dirt, marking the end of a bloody massacre as two knights chat nearby. One warrior mocks the futility of fleeing death, while the other simply scoffs at the senseless cruelty of it all. Without a hint of remorse, mercenaries stack the corpses into a mountain of flesh, preparing to burn the evidence. These cold-blooded killers don't care for morals. They only care about the heavy gold coins in their pockets. Before a massive, flaming gate, a warrior bows low to a shadow-draped and imposing figure known as Karamov. He reports that the slaughter is complete, presenting the shattered remains of the noble Brits family crest. The mysterious commander pulverizes the ring in his palm, spitting the Brits' name like it's pure poison. With a sneer, he mocks their weakness, disappointed that a knight couldn't even survive 2 measly swings of a blade. Karamov declares himself the Emperor's iron will and the undisputed sword of the Holy Empire. Acting as the feared seal collector, he vows to purge every corrupt noble by His Majesty's absolute decree. He promises legendary riches to his followers before signaling his army to raise everything in their path. His ruthless legions, sporting wolf-embossed shields and bloodshot eyes, prepare for the next wave of destruction. They celebrate the upcoming fall of the Eighth Estate as we plunge back into the protagonist's harrowing vision. The two titans clash with lethal precision, the Black Knight parrying every strike with terrifying, effortless ease. With a cold glare of superiority, the warrior in obsidian armor proves he's on a completely different level. In a blur of motion, the Dark Knight shatters his opponent's guard and sends his weapon spinning away. Stripped of his defense, the helpless warrior watches his blade fly as the final killing blow descends. With one swift, brutal execution, a head is severed from its shoulders in a sickening spray of crimson. The decapitated body collapses as blood paints the arena, while a lone helmet clatters across the cold stones. As the helmet settles, the dark visor reveals the unblinking eyes of a fallen, lonely soul. The camera zooms in, delivering a gut-punch realization. The defeated warrior was none other than our main character. Johann bolts upright with a jagged scream, his heart hammering as cold sweat drenches his trembling body. He gasps for air, desperately trying to convince himself that the horrific execution was just a twisted nightmare. He exhales sharply, still reeling from the trauma of the dream that's haunted him since the wolf appeared. The same gruesome death has played on loop for days, making the priest's warnings echo in his mind. The image of that beast howling under a blood-red moon lingers like a curse in his waking thoughts. Johann tries to shake it off, clinging to the hope that these omens are just superstitions for children. But the mention of the sign of Demis hangs heavy in the air, cranking his anxiety to 11. He forces a hollow laugh, joking that he hasn't done anything to earn such a legendary streak of misfortune. Then, he recalls brutally crushing the monster's skull with a massive boulder and feels a sudden wave of guilt. With a sheepish grin, he admits to himself that he might have pissed off the creature just a bit. Shaking off the dread, the young man decides to channel his nervous energy into some high-intensity strength training. Under the orange glow of a fading sun, he dives into his grueling workout with absolute, unwavering focus. His grind is cut short by the mocking voices of his older brothers, calling him a pathetic, useless brat. They parrot their father's orders to stay invisible, sneering at his efforts to improve himself in secret. They clown him for his ego, reminding him that he's all talk after getting absolutely wrecked in combat. They dismiss his training as a cheap party trick, laughing that he'll never be elite enough to join the guard. He tightens his grip, locking eyes with the massive trunk. It is time to unleash his true power. A lone strike explodes against the wood, splintering the giant tree into a million jagged shards. His brothers stand frozen. Their eyes practically pop out as their jaws hit the dirt in sheer disbelief. The timber snaps like a toothpick, a brutal testament to the hellish training he has endured. Casting a wicked smirk their way, he dares them to repeat that trash they were just talking. Terrified, the pair bolts, screaming threats about snitching to their father as they disappear. Johann just sighs. He scoffs at those pathetic losers, wondering how they will ever survive on their own. Blocking out the noise, he refocuses. The path to ultimate strength requires total concentration. A sudden voice cuts through the air, confirming that their brother's claims about the old man are legit. Philip steps forward, dropping a truth bomb. Their father has zero plans to give Johann any rank. Unfazed, Johann shrugs. He is just glad he is not being marched to the executioner block today. Philip asks if he is hurt, but Johann brushes it off. He will carve out his own destiny regardless. Then comes the twist. Their father is actually terrified of Johann's hidden potential. Johann goes dead silent. His face hardens as the weight of Philip's revelation finally sinks in. Philip explains that Johann's raw power scares the man, who only wants weak, obedient puppets. The Count wants loyal dogs, not independent lions. To him, Johann is way too hard to control. Jason fears history will repeat itself. He is worried Johann will overthrow him like he did his father. The revelation catches him off guard, but Johann quickly laughs. To him, the whole theory sounds like nonsense. Shifting the mood, Philip signals his servant to bring forth a mysterious heavy bag for his brother. The bag is unzipped, and Johann leans in, his curiosity piqued by whatever treasure lies within. Johann's eyes practically double in size as he stares at the loot inside. Philip reveals high-tier gear, a reinforced chest plate, and a sturdy coat pulled from the castle's secret stash. Unlike their father, Philip is not an idiot. He knows real talent when he sees it. Johann locks in, absorbing every word of Philip's proposal with a newfound intensity. Philip makes a vow. Once he takes the throne, Johann will lead the 8th Guard as its captain. Johann fires back, insisting he is no troublemaker. He is just defending himself against those baseless accusations. Philip tosses the gear over and turns away, leaving Johann alone with his new equipment and thoughts. As the sun bleeds across the horizon, Philip and his servant vanish into the fading light. Watching them go, a chill crawls up Johann's spine. Something feels strange. He stares at the armor. Cold sweat breaks out as he recognizes it from his horrific nightmare. Dread washes over him. If he wears this, is he fast-tracking himself toward that same bloody ending? Yet, a spark of defiance remains. He believes he can defy destiny and rewrite his own path. Ignoring the omens, he trusts his gut. He chooses to don the gear and face fate head-on. Strapping on the plate and cape, he feels a surge of power. He is ready for whatever awaits. Darkness swallows the land, ushering in a night filled with dangerous new trials and legendary adventures. Down at the local pub, the air is thick with gossip about the village's recent crazy events. A villager shouts that Johann is a real one, a hero who saved Dell and Joseph from certain death. The crowd agrees. Johann is a saint compared to his father, who is just a pathetic, drunken skirt chaser. A hooded stranger eavesdrops from the shadows, letting out a low, mysterious chuckle over his ale. Another man grip tightens until his mug shatters. He clearly hates the Lord just as much. Dell's father stands up, declaring that the booze is on his tab. It is time for a celebration. He raises a glass to young Johann, the righteous warrior who snatched his daughter from danger. One guy calls out the stranger, asking for his name since he is definitely not a local face. The mystery man smirks, noting how bold the peasants are when trash-talking their own lord. Outside, he eyes a drunkard passed out in the mud, scoffing at the idea of a future captain. Johann can't just walk past a citizen in need. With a friendly smile, he steps up to offer the man a hand home. But the moment he reaches out, a bone-chilling sensation strikes his neck. His helpful expression shatters into pure terror. The drunk was a trap. An assassin lunges, pressing a lethal dagger against his throat as Johann stands there, completely paralyzed. He's frozen solid by the sudden ambush in the heart of the village. Nearby, a solitary wooden house sits in silence. The darkness feels suffocating as the shadow of death looms. Then, in a desperate burst of speed, Johann twists away, barely escaping the blade's bite. Breathless, he wonders, did his own father send this mysterious killer? No. He shakes the thought. The old man would have come himself. Could it be his stepmother or Philip? He doubts his brother has the guts for this. But the mystery eats at him. Who exactly wants him dead? Squinting at the hooded figure, Johann demands to know his price. He offers every coin he owns to survive. But the assassin doesn't even blink at the offer. A cold, hollow voice echoes from beneath the dark cloak, claiming he already has more gold than he can spend. Panic surges through Johann. If it's not about money, what then? The killer's motives are a complete void. Then, the assassin leans in, proposing one single, terrifying question. He levels his razor-sharp dagger, making his intentions clear. One wrong word, and Johann's life ends right here. The blade, stained with a dark residue, bites into his skin. Johann's pulse races as he stares death in the eye. This feels like a high-stakes job interview. He flashes back to his past life, searching for the perfect response. Bracing himself, He swallows his fear and prepares to listen. Every nerve is on edge as he waits for the query. The hooded man leans in, his gaze piercing. He notes Johan's impressive build before dropping a total bombshell. Are you truly the son of that filthy pig, Jason Ates? The bizarre question leaves Johan absolutely floored. Fury simmers beneath his fear as he grinds his teeth. He needs an answer that will keep his head attached. Trembling but defiant, he retorts that even a lion can be born from a line of pigs. Silence falls instantly. The tension is thick enough to cut. Johan's mind spirals. Did he just make a fatal mistake? Is this where his journey ends? Suddenly, a chilling, distorted laugh erupts from the assassin, leaving the boy shaken. The man admits he liked the answer, but his grip doesn't loosen. Johan's desperation only grows. With a twisted, predatory grin, he declares that from this moment on, Johan belongs to him alone. The protagonist is left reeling, unable to grasp the weight of those dark, mysterious words. This is Kegel, the legendary poison master of the Nisos Guild, the Empire's deadliest and most feared shadow. A master of the blade known as the Venomous Serpent, he's survived 1,000 blood-soaked missions. Yet, Kegel faced a looming crisis. He had no heir. He'd searched everywhere, finding only worthless insects. Even those with talent were blinded by useless notions of honor, refusing to walk the path of a killer. One stubborn knight even chose death over staining his soul with Kegel's lethal, dark arts. Without a flicker of pity, Kegel granted that wish, snuffing out the man's life in a single heartbeat. In the center of the arena, over 30 high-born heirs met a similar, bloody fate at his hands. Driven by desperation, he consulted the Empire's witch. She pointed him toward a forgotten, rural corner of the world. The prophecy claimed his successor was one of the sons of the drunkard, Lord of Hades' castle. Kegel was skeptical. Why would a genius be hiding in such a pathetic, poverty-stricken backwater? The witch just cackled, betting her own gold on the prophecy's truth. Kegel took the bet. He knew better than to cross a witch, and he was out of options. Time was running out. Even as he reached the Adas estate, doubt gnawed at his gut. Was this really the right place? He decided that if the boy was a disappointment, he'd end him immediately. But now, everything has changed. I'm done wasting time, Kegel growls. You will be my successor. He lays out a brutal ultimatum. Master his deadly swordsmanship or die right here. Johan is stunned by this sudden, insane turn of events. Caught between terror and confusion, he blurts out the first thing on his mind. How much do I pay? Kegel's face contorts in rage. I'm not looking for a paycheck, you brat, he roars back. Suddenly, Johan's eyes light up with pure greed. Free lessons from a literal legend? With stars in his eyes, he tells Kegel he's been waiting his whole life for a master like him. He warns that his blade work reeks of a cold-blooded killer, not a noble knight. Mastering these arts will brand him a permanent stain on his family's legacy. Johan screams that honor is trash and begs for the training. The killer smirks and agrees. In all his years, he's never encountered such a wild brat. Then, Johan recalls a detail. His eyes sparkle with greed as he asks if he gets paid for training well. Kegel gazes at the boy, realizing this kid is cut from a completely different cloth. Back at Castle 8, the territory lord readies his stallion for departure. Flanked by guards, he declares the inspection finished before riding off into the distance. Philip bids farewell, promising to oversee the fortress while his father is away. Johan's stepmother sneers that regardless of his struggles, the castle will eventually fall to her. Philip snaps back, declaring himself the sole heir and the next lord of these lands. Jason groans, fed up with their constant bickering, and tells them to handle it themselves. Philip notes Johan's disappearance, causing the lord to gnash his teeth in pure, unbridled rage. The mere mention of the rebellious runt infuriates him. Philip trembles at his father's boiling temper. He stays cool, waiting for orders. Jason scoffs, dismissing the brat as a waste of time. His life is worthless. Philip bows in submission, offering a fake apology to his furious father. Secretly, Philip wonders what kind of trouble Johan is stirring up deep within the woods. Kegel demands a skill check before training begins. Johan nonchalantly asks to borrow a blade. He admits he shatters his own weapons too often. Kegel finds the reckless kid absolutely insufferable. Contemplating murder, Kegel hands over a sword and asks if the rookie is ready to die. Johan grins wildly, ready to unleash his hidden potential upon his new, deadly master. Facing off in the shadows, Johan takes a clumsy, bizarre stance that makes Kegel sigh loudly. Disgusted by the boy's pathetic form, Kegel prepares to end him. Johan asks for total freedom. The master agrees. With a wicked grin, Kegel permits fists, stones, or steel. Anything goes. Johan suddenly snaps the borrowed sword with his bare hands, leaving his master completely speechless. Metal shards erupt as the blade's death knell echoes. Kegel's eyes nearly pop out of his head. Stunned by this monstrous strength, his doubts about the witch's prophecy vanish into thin air. Shards glint in the moonlight as Kegel stares. This boy isn't human. He's a physical freak. The prophecy was true. Johann smirks, prepping an assault fueled purely by raw, unadulterated power. Under the moon's glow, shards fall as Kegel feels the sheer air pressure from Johann's stance. Johann's fist generates a shockwave. Kegel braces, knowing a direct hit means instant death. One strike would pulverize his bones. He isn't fighting a boy. He's facing a starving lion. With eyes ablaze, Johann charges, but the master vanishes, moving with godlike, blinding speed. Dodging effortlessly, Kegel unleashes his serpent style, slithering through the air in chaotic patterns. Johann's head spins. He can't track the master's flow. The movement is simply too erratic. Kegel strikes. The flat of his blade connects with surgical precision, slamming into Johann's side. Johann hits the dirt, howling as the sheer force of the blow rattles his entire frame. Staggering up, Johann meets Kegel's icy gaze. The master stares him down with cold authority. He's impressed Johann is still conscious after that hit. The boy's durability is absolutely insane. 1,000 years ago, he'd be a legendary hero. But now, Kegel spots a fatal flaw. This weakness is a death sentence. Fix it, or prepare for an early grave, Kegel warns. Fate will be cruel. Johann freezes, reeling from the weight of his master's chilling prediction. Kegel explains that Johann's lack of control is a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Johann scoffs, confused. How could his own power possibly be his greatest enemy? Kegel reveals a set of daggers, readying the next brutal trial for his monster of a student. He dares the kid to go all out, unleashing every ounce of his raw power. With a smirk, he drops a wager. Snap his blade, and a massive reward awaits. At the mere mention of treasure, our hero's eyes turn into literal dollar signs. Total 180. He takes the bait instantly, charging at the master like a man possessed, desperate to secure that bag. Without a proper blade, he grabs a massive tree trunk, swinging it like a makeshift club of pure destruction. The collision is absolute chaos. Steel grinds against wood as sparks erupt like fireworks. Johann feels the bone-shattering recoil vibrate through him. He mashes his teeth, fighting against the crushing pressure his master exerts. Then, a warm droplet leaks from his eye. His body is literally screaming under the strain. This feels way too familiar, a dark flashback to the brutal beatdowns from his father. Kegel scoffs, noting the boy is drowning in his own unrefined strength. It's time to master the flow, not just the force. The warning is chilling. Master this overwhelming energy now, or it will be the very thing that puts him in the ground. To prove a point, the master flicks a blade shard, pinning it perfectly into the boy's armor. Johann's jaw drops. The stakes are real. Survival depends on control. Johann finally gets it. Kegel watches his pupil closely, sensing the latent potential bubbling just beneath the surface. He promises that once Johann tames this beastly power, he will reach a level of god-tier strength beyond his wildest dreams. Then, moving like a ghost, the master strikes with just his scabbard. It's a blur. Johann cannot even blink before the hit connects. Shock ripples through him. That blunt sheath sliced his heavy armor, like a hot knife through butter. How is that even possible? The assassin explains the secret. True mastery means anything can become a lethal edge. A blade is just an optional accessory. A dark grin creeps across his face. The boy's potential is terrifying. But enough talk, the warm-up ends here. Welcome to the real hell. The training ahead is a nightmare scenario, and there is zero guarantee our protagonist makes it out alive. With a gaze that could kill, he asks one final question. Is the boy truly ready to dance with death? Johann just smirks, radiating pure confidence. Meanwhile, back at Eight's castle, life seems normal, but looks can be deceiving. As Johann suffers through his hellish regimen, a mysterious hooded figure stalks the village, scouting the area with a calculated gaze. Covered in bruises and exhaustion, Johann pushes through. He thinks he's getting the hang of holding back, but control is a fickle beast. It's a constant struggle to keep his titanic strength in check. Suddenly, something catches his eye in the castle's main square. A squad of elite elven soldiers has arrived, standing tall and imposing. Their presence practically screams high-level danger. Johann marches up to investigate, but a guard shuts him down instantly. The kid is not exactly thrilled about being told what to do. He snaps back, catching an attitude. Who do these guys think they are? The soldier just smirks, ready to drop some knowledge. Meet the Wolves of Akiton, the most feared mercenary guild in the land, working directly under the king's shadow. Mentioning mercenaries grabs Johann's attention instantly. He asks about the payout, and the guards cannot help but laugh at his boldness. 2 gold coins per mission? That's way more than a captain's salary. They flex that it is about finesse, not just meathead muscles. Johann is practically drooling at the thought of all that gold. A career change is looking real tempting right about now. But the vibe shifts. From the shadows, a warrior clad in shimmering golden armor watches Johann's every move with intense interest. This titan begins to move, his footsteps heavy with an aura so thick you could cut it with a knife. He's a walking catastrophe. Johan's pupils shrink as the warrior's reflection fills his vision. A primal shiver races down his spine. His survival instincts are screaming. Without even thinking, his hand flies to his hilt. It's pure reflex. His body recognizes a predator long before his brain does. He is ready to draw, bracing for a fight against a monster. He is internally panicking. Why is his body reacting like it is game over? A knight barks at him for his disrespect toward Lord Karamov, but the golden giant waves him off. He is intrigued. Perched on a snowy white steed, Karamov looks down at the boy. His presence is absolutely suffocating, like a mountain leaning on a pebble. Those glowing crimson eyes lock onto him. He demands to know who this brat is, the one bold enough to challenge a god. Sweat pours down Johan's neck. The pressure is insane. He is completely cornered by the imposing weight of this knight's legendary status. Surrounded by steel, he chokes out his name, Johan of House 8. He is doing his best not to let his voice tremble. The golden warrior reaches for his visor. The air turns cold as he prepares to reveal the face behind the legend. The helm comes off, revealing the man himself, Karamov, a legendary member of the Imperial Guard. Johan is paralyzed with pure awe. He finally realizes why he went for his sword. It was not a choice, it was a desperate survival reflex he could not control. This feeling is on a whole different level. Not even the Black Wolf or his father's murderous rage felt this terrifyingly absolute. Karamov's killing intent is like a physical weight, crushing the air out of his lungs. Johan is a literal rabbit caught in a trap. He is just prey standing before an apex hunter. Every drop of sweat is a testament to the sheer, unadulterated terror he feels. Icy and commanding, the elven knight barks a lethal order for the boy to clear the path. Drenched in cold sweat, Johan's limbs betray him, quaking under the knight's suffocating, monstrous pressure. Terror paralyzes his very soul as the nearby mercenaries sneer at his pathetic display of weakness. They jeer, warning him to watch his step next time, followed by a soldier's mocking laughter. If there even is a next time, one taunts. Jane, a trainee, wonders if leaving him is right. Smirking, Karamov dismisses the drama for today and marches his squad directly into the heart of the fortress. Abandoned and bewildered, Johan stands in silence, his mind racing over the Emperor's elite appearing out of nowhere. Stunned by the news, Philip sprints to the courtyard to welcome the legendary knight with desperate haste. Gasping for air, he puzzles over why such a high-ranking powerhouse would bother with this backwater territory. He claims his title as House 8's heir before his stepmother and her son, John, make their entrance. She shamelessly flirts, showering the knight with praise and flashing a sultry smile that suggests marriage was possible. She beckons him inside with a wink, but Karamov treats her like thin air, utterly ignoring her advances. Philip fumes at the disrespect as the titan in shimmering gold armor strides through the heavy castle doors. He seizes the throne without a word, demanding to know the whereabouts of Lord Gazon in a chilling tone. Both Philip and his stepmother stand frozen, shell-shocked by the knight's sheer, unbridled disrespect for their status. John attempts a weak protest against the insult to his father, but his mother quickly cuts him off. She insists his behavior is earned, given his status as the Empire's most formidable and unrivaled blade. Philip spots her manipulation, but Karamov's roar for silence and their immediate departure shatters any political maneuvering. Demanding wine, he settles in to wait for Gazan, his hand never straying far from his lethal blade. As he waits for a bloody reckoning, Johan is miles away, pushing his body to the absolute breaking point. Sharpening his lethality under his master, the scene shifts to Karamov, unmasking his arrogant, battle-hardened visage. The fuse is lit. These two powerhouses are destined to collide in a clash that will reshape their fates. Eyes on me, Keglo bellows, as Johan grinds his teeth against the searing agony of the training session. He barely evades the lightning-fast strikes until a thin crimson line blooms on his throat. He's too slow. The master warns that a poisoned blade would have ended his journey right then and there. Johan admits his focus is shot. Something feels dangerously wrong about those Imperial knights crawling through the village. Strangers are policing his own family's gates. His expression darkens as the gravity of the situation sinks in. Locked gates make no sense, but Kegel bluntly asks what a weakling like him could possibly do anyway. Kegel explains that Karamov is the continent's apex predator, the very foundation of the Empire's military might. Shocked, Johan questions if the elf truly outclasses his own master. Kegel responds with a heavy, chilling silence. Looking grim, the master confesses he'd retreat instantly, rather than face that monster in a fair fight. You never know until the end, Johan argues, only to be met with a swift, corrective blow to the head. Know your place, brat, Kegel roars, reminding him he can't even harness his own raw, chaotic power yet. He mocks Johan's amateurish skills, claiming he's fodder for Karamov, but the boy's eyes burn with fierce resolve. Johan vows to sharpen his soul for the coming storm, earning only a weary sigh from his mentor. Grudgingly accepting his pupil's stubbornness, Kegel orders him back to work as their hellish training resumes with fervor. Steel shrieks against steel, echoing through the woods as Kegel drives him forward with a relentless, brutal assault. Refusing to break, Johann pours every ounce of his being into matching his master's god-tier speed and precision. Desperate to absorb every technique, Johann struggles against the master's blindingly fast and pinpoint-accurate strikes, pushing him to the brink. A furious Kegel screams for the boy to transcend his pathetic human limits. Gasping for breath, Johann wonders why his overwhelming power still can't land a single scratch on his mentor. He curses his own incompetence, unable to even pierce a simple sheath despite the fire burning in his veins. Kegel shifts his focus, instructing the boy on the lethal art of force flow and pinpoint energy concentration. Poised for a strike, he warns the boy against reckless, blind swinging. Every ounce of power must flow into the blade's tip. Slowly, Johann's instincts finally awaken. He's mastering true restraint. Kegel hears it, the boy's sword hums with a lethal, sharper edge. The progress is staggering. Their training turns into a fierce, high-stakes dance of clashing steel. Deep within the shadows, our hero finally feels the rhythm of the blade. He readies a killing blow, channeling every fiber of his being into one single point. Eyes blazing with a sapphire glow, he's ready to unleash his newfound evolution on his master. Kegel senses the shift. If he doesn't guard now, this next strike could be fatal. They collide, a blur of steel and lethal intent, as secret techniques clash in one frame. With a cocky smirk, Johann successfully grazes the tip of his master's weapon sheath. "I did it," he roars, riding the high of finally mastering the elusive flow of power. It feels easy now, unlike the hellish start. Kegel just stares, absorbed in heavy silence. Thinking it was pure fluke, the master beckons his pupil for a much deadlier challenge. Sword drawn and ready, he warns that the kid gloves are officially coming off this time. "Come at me." Johann lunges, mimicking the serpent technique, shrouded in a surging blue aura. Shaken by the boy's prowess, Kegel barely escapes the strike with a desperate, last-second leap. Johann celebrates like a madman, ecstatic at having outplayed his master during their high-speed sparring. The legendary assassin stands stunned. Who is this kid? His learning speed is absolutely terrifying. Basic force control was the lesson, yet here he is, wielding the secret serpent's tongue. He's flawlessly replicated a move witnessed only once during their very first encounter. This is insane. To his master's horror, the boy's execution is cleaner than the original creator's own form. Kegel falls silent, struggling to wrap his head around his disciple's god-tier, monstrous potential. Instinct screams that barring a miracle, he can no longer hope to best this young prodigy. The Empire's top guild master sighs, whispering the truth. His student is a literal monster. Oblivious, Johann cheers, thrilled to have mastered a skill that guarantees his future survival. Suddenly, Kegel declares their time is up. He's departing the forest the moment the sun rises. Caught off guard, Johann protests, feeling like he's only just started scratching the sword's surface. Reluctantly, the master confesses. In just 1 week, the student has already surpassed the teacher. Content that his legacy lives on, he grants the boy freedom to forge his own path. Bidding farewell, he acknowledges Johann's grit. Reaching this height of power was no small feat. Johann questions the sudden exit, but the master insists his restless soul never stays put for long. By the flickering fire, Kegel explains it's not the job, it's just his nomadic nature calling. The boy pivots, asking about those dark omens like that terrifying black wolf from his past. He recounts the beast and that haunting, recurring nightmare of his own head falling to the floor. Johann admits that when his master first appeared, he mistook him for the herald of death. Kegel scoffs. Bad luck is fluid. Had he killed the boy then, that would have been the sign. Under the starlight, the master readies his final nuggets of wisdom before vanishing into the night. His parting advice? Find a blade worthy of his raw power, something forged from legendary Danish steel. This mythical, mana-infused metal is a relic hidden deep within the world's most ancient ruins. With the forging secrets long dead, these weapons are priceless artifacts of a forgotten era. Johann asks about the price, but Kegel laughs he couldn't afford it in 10 lifetimes of saving. Confused by the suggestion, Johann listens as his master bluntly highlights how broke he actually is. Run when in danger, kill when cornered. Above all else, the master's final order is simple: survive. Johann vows to endure. Meanwhile, miles away at Eight's castle, the night takes a chilling turn. Amidst a thick air of mystery, a woman leans in, asking Karamov if the drink satisfies. Perched arrogantly on the throne, the knight sneers at his drink before hurling the goblet aside in total disgust. As glass shatters against the stone wall, Karamov growls that only the vintage in Lord Gazen's private chambers is worthy. He spits at the situation. Johann's stepmother purrs, offering him a more intimate room, but he meets her with icy silence. Flashing a predatory grin, she persists, whispering that the Lord's bed is plush and he definitely won't regret the visit. She hints they could share a night of forbidden pleasure together, but the knight's gaze remains cold and utterly bored. In a voice like a sharpened blade, he barks for the woman to vanish and leave him to his own thoughts. Rejection stings her like a slap. She stammers out a desperate plea, reminding him that their window of opportunity is closing. Karamov notes that Gazin won't return until midnight, his eyes suddenly burning with an eerie crimson malice. A wicked smirk twists his lips as he admits he's tired of waiting and is finally ready for some bloody fun. The knight drops the act, baring his fangs for the only entertainment he truly craves, a heartless, total massacre. Outside, the first screams pierce the air. Philip trembles, paralyzed by the sudden, violent chaos erupting within the castle. Deep in the woods, Johann freezes. The wind carries a foul stench, and a cold dread settles in his gut. His eyes snap toward the horizon. Thick plumes of black smoke choke the sky. What could be burning out there? His heart sinks as he spots the village. An absolute inferno. Why would his home be swallowed by such devastating flames? Elsewhere, Johann's father, Jason, gallops home. He stares in disbelief at the madness unfolding before his very eyes. A soldier shouts over the roar of fire, warning that the blaze is out of control and they must move. Without a second's hesitation, Jason kicks his horse into a desperate, thundering gallop, racing against the ticking clock. He bursts through the smoke, skidding to a halt at the gates, desperate to uncover the truth of this nightmare. But the elven sentries only sneer, taunting him. Look at the slowpoke lord, finally gracing us with his presence. They bark at him to move, mocking that Lord Karamov's legendary patience is wearing dangerously thin. The heavy gates creak open, and the color drains from Jason's face. What he sees is pure, unadulterated horror. The courtyard is a graveyard. Mangled bodies are scattered like discarded rags across the cold, blood-stained bricks. You can still see the agonizing terror frozen on the faces of those who were slaughtered, without any hope. Choking on the scent of iron and death, the Lord stammers, barely able to ask who caused this carnage. Boom! A massive, gold-plated boot slams into the dirt right before him, shaking the very earth beneath his feet. It's Karamov. The knight looks down with chilling indifference, mocking Jason for his fashionably late arrival to the bloodbath. Sweat pours down Jason's neck. He says nothing, his knuckles turning white as he grips his axe with trembling fury. Then, his rage erupts. He bellows at the top of his lungs, demanding to know what the hell Karamov is doing. With a smug grin, the knight points a finger, accusing Jason of high treason and plotting against the Emperor's life. The verdict is death. He coldly declares that the entire Eye's bloodline is to be erased from existence, starting now. Jason screams that this is a lie. It's nothing but a baseless purge, a sick setup to destroy his family. He spits a challenge at the knight, asking what right he has to play God and ruin innocent lives. Karamov doesn't even blink. He turns his back and signals the herald to sound the war trumpet's grim blast. His command is absolute: seize the family seal and leave no soul alive within the borders of this land. The Elven Legion surges forward like a tidal wave of steel, ready to wipe this territory off the face of the map. Within minutes, the village is a roaring furnace. Homes crumble into ash as the night turns bright with destruction. Through the smoke, an elf looms over the broken Father Valbert, calling the old priest's pitiful existence a cruel joke. The soldier sneers, demanding the location of the Lord's bastard son before he sends the priest to the afterlife. As the blade rises for the killing blow, a shadow flashes. Out of the embers, our hero finally arrives. Clang. In a blur of motion, Johann parries the strike, his steel meeting the soldiers in a shower of sparks. Valbert gasps, the cold edge of death having been mere inches from his throat. He's alive, but barely breathing. Looking up, he sees a familiar face. Johann? He whispers, and our hero nods, his eyes burning with resolve. What happened here? Johann demands. The priest chokes out that the Emperor's forces have descended into mindless, bloody madness. He adds the crushing news. Lord Jason has likely already fallen to the same brutal fate as the village. Now, cold corpses litter the blood-stained earth. Witnessing this carnage, our hero grinds his teeth as raw fury boils inside his soul. Seeing Dell's tiny hand resting on her father, he reaches a grim realization. Turning toward the trembling girl, his eyes harden. He commands her to seek refuge with Father Valbert. Then, our protagonist rises and strides directly into the heart of the absolute chaos. The priest screams in desperation, begging him to turn back and flee for his life before it is far too late. But our hero doesn't flinch, completely ignoring the frantic warnings. Slowly, he tilts his head upward toward the gray, suffocating sky. His blood runs cold at the sight his father Jason's severed head is spiked upon a standard for the entire world to see. A nearby sign coldly announces that the Duke was executed for treason. It serves as a brutal warning from the Emperor himself. It declares that anyone touching the remains without permission will face certain death. Our boy stands there in a deafening, haunting silence. He processes the slaughter of his father and his entire home. Suddenly, An elven soldier catches sight of the lone survivor. He sneers, asking what that low-born trash is doing there. Their commander scoffs, wondering if the coward returned just to die. Without a single word, our hero erupts forward and lunges. With a lightning-fast strike, he aims directly for the arrogant Karamov. The knight parries with his own blade. The collision is so violent that sparks spray everywhere across the chaotic battlefield. Suddenly, our protagonist's blade begins to fracture under the knight's overwhelming might. The steel simply cannot withstand the crushing pressure. The sword shatters into jagged shards. Seizing the opening, Karamov retaliates with a devastating blow that shatters the very air. The impact sends him soaring. He skids across the dirt but rebounds instantly, fueled by pure adrenaline as he rushes his enemy again. With murder in his eyes, Karamov flashes a wicked grin, admitting that this little dance is actually starting to amuse him. Our hero snatches a discarded blade from a fallen corpse and dives back into the fray with unhinged determination. He unleashes the serpent technique taught by his master, moving with the fluid, deadly grace of a striking cobra. He strikes with both blades simultaneously, but Karamov holds firm, blocking the twin assault with his legendary Danish steel sword. Once again, the cheap steel snaps under the pressure. The knight immediately launches a precise, high-speed counteroffensive. With surgical precision, he commands several floating swords to swarm our hero, attacking from every conceivable angle at once. With a final gesture, Karamov unites the blades and fires them. The projectile hits a massive stone statue behind our boy. The impact is absolute, completely obliterating the solid stone into a cloud of dust and rubble. Smirking, Karamov remarks that the duel was surprisingly entertaining. He laughs, claiming it felt better than anything he had imagined. It was more electrifying than a lightning strike. With another thunderous hit, an elven soldier is blasted backward from the shockwave. Karamov chuckles, stating that the slaughter is finally becoming interesting. A dark, sinister smile spreads across his face. He demands our hero provide more entertainment, mockingly calling him nothing but a pathetic bastard of the Ease bloodline. Despite being disarmed, our hero rises, clutching only a broken hilt. Karamov prepares to finish him with his massive golden blade. With a blur of motion, the golden sword slams into our hero's chest. He desperately tries to brace for the impact. He uses his broken shards to block, but it is futile. The force is so immense he is hurled backward like a rag doll. Defenseless and broken, Johann crashes into the dirt once more, his body covered in deep wounds and crushing defeat. They lock eyes across the clearing as our hero struggles to breathe. Suddenly, the knight's expression shifts to utter confusion. He glances down at his own chest. He can't believe his eyes. Is his legendary Danish armor actually cracked? Wide-eyed, he realizes a mere human managed the impossible. Shattering Danish steel should be a feat beyond any mortal's reach. It should be impossible. Fuming, he bellows, demanding to know exactly what kind of monster this bastard truly is. Meanwhile, our protagonist retrieves 2 more blades from the dead. With fresh steel in hand, he prepares for round 2. He charges once more, and the knight is visibly shaken by the terrifying aura radiating from the young warrior. Our hero unleashes a flurry of savage blows. Karamov snarls, calling him a mindless animal who just swings blindly. With a single, effortless motion, the knight deflects the assault, mocking the boy's lack of any real combat finesse. Our hero pours every ounce of strength into his strike, but the knight remains unmoved. Johann quickly switches to the serpent technique. He retreats to reposition, but Karamov has already read him. He sneers, noting the kid has no idea how to actually block. He realizes our hero is fighting on raw, unrefined instinct alone, lacking any formal training or sophisticated strategy. His gaze turns lethal. Realizing the boy is a wild threat, he decides to end this duel immediately with one final strike. As our hero lunges again, he uses his own father's tattered banner as a brilliant, tactical distraction. The crimson flag hits the dirt, and our boy seizes the opening to lunge forward, trampling over his own father's legacy. Incensed by the carnage, the elven commander bellows a bloodthirsty order for his legion to swarm and slaughter our protagonist. Crimson rage blazes in our hero's eyes as he readies his blade. Then, with one lethal flash of steel, he decapitates a soldier whose final scream is cut short by terror. Before the body even hits the dirt, the battlefield falls silent. Another warrior charges with a frantic cry, but our hero ruthlessly cleaves him in 2. The elf's agonizing shriek echoes through the chaos, as our boy's quest for vengeance transforms into an unstoppable rampage through the burning remains of the village. Haunted by his own path, he questions his destiny while marching toward the castle. Elsewhere, Father Valberg clutches little Dell tight, insisting they flee immediately. He knows that storming the fortress now would be nothing short of a suicide mission. A sudden voice calls his name, stopping him cold. To his absolute shock, he finds his brother Philip, battered and bleeding, but miraculously alive. Our hero rushes over, demanding to know why he returned to this living nightmare. Philip gasps for air, begging him to run before the shadows claim them both. With his final flicker of strength, he fumbles with his visor, desperately trying to pass a mysterious object to our hero. With trembling, bloodied hands, clutching the helmet his brother surrendered, our protagonist watches as Philip's life fades away, leaving him utterly alone in the dark. The weight of his father's warnings about status clashes with his master's cold, calculated advice in his mind, urging him to retreat from the Emperor's elite knight. He was warned that Karamov was an invincible monster, yet a deadlier lesson from his assassin master resurfaces. If blood must be spilled, ensure the enemy never rises again. Fueled by that memory, he realizes the time for hesitation is over. It is finally time to hunt. With iron resolve, our hero rises and stalks toward the castle gates alone, a solitary shadow draped in steel. The elven sentries freeze in disbelief as the young warrior emerges from the smoke, sword gripped tight. One soldier barks out a confused insult, demanding to know where the guards went. Our hero's knuckles turn white as he roars the knight's name, Karamov, with a fury that shatters the air before exploding a soldier's skull with one punch. He demands the commander face him, his heavy footfalls causing the very earth to tremble under his absolute killing intent. Beneath a fractured helmet, his gaze pierces the dark. Nearby, Karamov's blade drips with fresh blood, its runes pulsing with malevolent light. The knight sneers, noting he had heard rumors that a son of the Eyes family had managed to crawl away. He recognizes Johannes, the boy who once dared to defy him. But our hero isn't there for a polite conversation. He tells Karamov to stop talking and just see him as a human who is beyond fed up with his existence. The knight let out a mocking laugh, claiming the boy threw away his only chance at life for a worthless cause. With a sadistic grin, Karamov raises his glowing claymore, officially welcoming the boy to his final resting place. Since he is so eager for a grave, our hero's eyes flash with a deadly light, promising to return the favor. The knight lunges forward, his blade humming with the promise of a swift execution. Steel clashes against steel, sparking a violent duel of raw power and elite swordsmanship. In a blur of motion, Karamov strikes, sending our hero's helmet flying. He vows to take the boy's head next, calling him a mere child as he pours every ounce of strength into a finishing blow. Suddenly, the knight's heart skips a beat. He senses a terrifying shift in the air as our protagonist unleashes the serpent technique. A brilliant azure light erupts from the blade, manifesting as a colossal spectral serpent, ready to devour its prey. The strike connects with bone-shattering force against the knight's arm. The impact is so immense that his legendary Danish plate begins to splinter like glass. Without slowing down, our hero's sword drives deep into the knight's chest. Karamov howls in pure agony and disbelief, unable to process how a mere boy bypassed his perfect defense. In the reflection of the knight's visor, he sees the blur of a clenched fist coming straight for his face. Our protagonist hammers a devastating punch into the golden helmet, sending shockwaves through Karamov's entire frame. The force is so astronomical that the reinforced steel shatters into a million pieces. Karamov's screams of pain fill the courtyard, humbled by the young man's overwhelming power. His legendary sword slips from his numb fingers, thudding into the brick floor. Doubled over and gasping for breath, the wounded knight clutches his side, staring at our hero with wide, panicked eyes. He finally recognizes the secret arts of Kage, realizing the boy had been masking his true lethality all along. Now, our protagonist advances like an omen of death, radiating an aura of pure, unadulterated vengeance. Karamov coughs up thick crimson, the dark pool widening beneath him as his life begins to drain away. Struggling to remain upright, the once proud knight trembles, forced to face his end while wearing his fallen brother's legacy. Johannes locks eyes with his foe, his gaze cold as ice. Powerless to resist, Karamov finally collapses onto the dirt. Our hero steps closer, demanding to know why he butchered his people. The broken knight spits out a response, claiming his atrocities were for the Emperor's greater glory. He insists the Holy Empire faces a looming, existential threat, and that His Majesty only acted to restore order. He then mentions his legendary blade, the infamous Sword of Karma. Even so, violent coughs rack his lungs, pinning him to the ground. Suddenly, a twisted laughter erupts from him, admitting that Johannes has actually impressed him. After decades of slaughter, he's never witnessed such raw, overwhelming power. Thus, he offers him a spot in the Empire's ranks. He claims the Emperor craves a monster of his caliber, promising infinite riches, eternal glory, and mountains of gold. He even offers a massive, lush territory to rule, total autonomy over his new lands, plus a royal knighthood bestowed by the Emperor himself, an invitation to serve as the Emperor's twin blades. Our hero stands mute, weighing the golden temptation. It is the dream life, endless cash and status, yet a bizarre emptiness gnaws at his soul. Despite achieving his ultimate goals, he feels zero spark. Eyes blazing with rage, he shuts the offer down. Karamov reels in total disbelief, unable to fathom why anyone would decline such a divine promotion. Our lead roars that the knight didn't just slay his brother, but erased his entire people. The knight sneers, dismissing them as mere peasants. He's floored that our hero would choose trash over treasure, just because of them. With a demonic, spiteful smirk, his jaw tightens before a manic scream erupts, shouting that those peasants were just vermin to be stepped on. The weak exist for one reason, to bleed so the strong can thrive. Hearing this filth, our hero's face turns into a mask of steel. Whispering an apology to his master this time, he's going full throttle, channeling every ounce of his fury. He lunges forward, a blur of lethal intent. His fist connects directly with the knight's steel visor. The metal explodes upon impact. Through his bloodied knuckles, our hero radiates pure, unyielding resolve. Shards of iron rain down in the shadows. The blow is too much. The knight's defense utterly crumbles. His arm drops limply to the cold bricks. Johannes's hand is mangled, but the war is finally won. Standing over the Golden Knight's corpse, our exhausted hero turns away with a heavy, soul-tired gaze. With his dying breath, the knight wheezes, mocking him as a fool for rejecting a god-tier life, warning that he's crossed a line of no return. By slaying the Emperor's sword, he's invited hell itself. Destroying his finest warrior seals our boy's fate. From here on, his existence will be pure, unadulterated suffering. Unfazed, our hero meets his eyes with zero fear. As the knight utters one final curse, his life fades as his fingers go limp. He remains a corpse in the burning wreckage of the courtyard. He once lived solely for the grind, purely for the money, but watching blood drip from his knuckles, a new mission ignites. These monsters erased his home and everyone he ever cared for. They left nothing but ashes. Even if the entire world hunts him, he will never regret this path. Let the masses curse his name. This isn't just a choice, it's the start of his epic journey. A brand new destiny begins. Deep in the night, a massive stone gate groans as it slowly slides open, exposing the castle's inner courtyard. A lone sentry creeps toward a timber door to investigate the disturbance. He swings it open to find Jane and her elven squad waiting. Her expression is pure, unfiltered fury. Jane demands the cold truth. The battered elf nods frantically, pleading with her to believe his nightmare, recounting how our hero materialized and tore through their ranks. Then, using nothing but his bare fists, he crushed the invincible Karamov, leaving her completely stunned. The soldier continues, shaking. That was the last glimpse of the commander. Speechless, Jane gestures toward the desolate courtyard, demanding the location of the corpse. If this is real, the elf maiden screams it's absolutely insane. Demanding physical evidence, the soldier stammers that it makes zero sense, but he witnessed the impossible. He saw the whole massacre. Suddenly, another guard reports that the elite hunting party is fully prepped. Stealing her nerves, Jane strides forward with lethal intent. She spins toward her waiting battalion, issuing a chilling command to the group. Hunt him down and end him, no mercy, no hesitation. Johann is officially the prey. The hunt is on as the battalion mobilizes to track him down. Labeling him a traitorous snake, Jane blames him for Karamov's end and demands his head. Dead or alive, he must return. Deep in the woods, our hero's resolve hardens. Steel clashes as Johann tangles with elven scouts. A cry of agony rips through the air. A lightning-fast strike drops one. Our boy is a cold-blooded blur of motion. Jane commands a full lockdown. No solo fights, just grind his stamina to zero. Is Karamov really fallen? The men whisper in disbelief. Jane's eyes burn with iron focus. Their directive is clear. Deliver Johann's severed head to the Emperor himself. Philip's final plea echoes. Take a stallion and survive, no matter what it takes. Finding the stables brings a heartbeat of peace, yet the shadow of pursuit keeps him on edge. He drops the corpse, eyes the knight's gear, and strategizes his next move. Using the massive plate as a makeshift shield, he lugs the heavy burden through his fatigue. The door creaks open to reveal a Titan Gazen's legendary warhorse waits within. He approaches the beast, silently thanking his brother with a weary, knowing grin. This noble creature is his ticket to freedom. Now, his new companion needs a name. Under the horse's piercing blue gaze, he names him Philip, a tribute to his fallen blood. Over there, Danish steel, an elven soldier shrieks, spotting a metallic glint in the brush. The search intensifies until the rhythmic thunder of galloping hooves shatters the silence. Like a phantom, Johann streaks past on Philip, his mind laser-focused on the exit. It is him. The boy is escaping. An elf screams in pure, unadulterated shock. The duo vanishes into the ink-black woods, leaving the elven commander fuming with rage. Fire! He roars. Archers loose a lethal rain of bolts toward our fleeing hero. Clang! The projectiles deflect off Karamov's armor. The gamble paid off perfectly. Under the silver glow of a full moon, Johann gallops into the safety of the night. Finally losing them, he reaches the Black Forest's heart and collapses from the saddle. Guilt over the unburied dead flickers, but survival demands he stay focused on the grind. That armor looks like a jackpot. His eyes then land on a majestic violet blade. He hefts the Danish steel weapon. It is impossibly light, yet terrifyingly sharp. Cryptic runes glow on the hilt. Ancient imperial script, he realizes, his curiosity piqued. A ghostly voice whispers, "The crest retriever. Does it actually hunt down family bloodlines?" Creepy name aside, he claims the sword and hides the heavy armor beneath the earth. It is a painful waste, but he swears to reclaim his treasure one day. Shovel in hand, he digs. Sweat pours as he carves a grave into the forest floor, fighting through the exhaustion. Done. He collapses, heart hammering, praying this makeshift tomb stays hidden from the world. News of the fallen knight will spread like wildfire. There is no turning back now. The knight's dying curse rings in his ears, promising a future paved with agony. My life was already hell, he scoffs, reflecting on his path as a penniless wanderer. Snap. A sudden sound in the darkness triggers his survival instincts. He freezes. He whirls around, bracing for a nightmare. It is that same monstrous black wolf. "Are you kidding me?" he groans. The creature has the worst timing imaginable. He is too drained to fight a monster. Combat is a death sentence in this state. He needs his horse. Fast. But a triumphant shout from the elves ruins everything. They have Philip. He is close. The leader sneers, tightening the noose around Johann. Those are Akitan's wolves. They are too fast. Horror dawns as he is spotted. "There!" a voice cries. Crossbows level at him instantly. He is cornered. Frustration boils within Johann. Fighting this mob solo is a death sentence. He's cornered between a monstrous wolf and the elven blades closing in. Hope vanishes, leaving our hero drowned in absolute despair. Is this his final curtain call? Suddenly, the impossible happens. The beast completely ignores Johann and tears into the elven ranks with savage fury. Screams echo as the monster shreds through the soldiers. Johann freezes, mind racing. Why did that apex predator skip him? But then, the truth hits him. The wolf is carving a bloody path for him. This is his one-shot ticket to survival. It's now or never. If he hesitates, he's a dead man. Letting out a primal roar, our protagonist bolts through the carnage, racing toward his steed. He weaves through the madness to escape. Shoving his foot into the stirrup, he prepares to mount. With one explosive leap, Johann swings into the saddle, white-knuckling the reins. Suddenly, fragments of his past flood his mind. Eyes locked on the horizon, our hero flees with grim resolve. He recalls his innocent childhood and a peaceful life long gone. Now, he's just a ghost riding through the suffocating dark forest. Memories of grueling training and bloody skirmishes flicker like old film. He sees the horrific destruction that leveled his home. With that, our boy leaves his world in ashes behind him forever. Behind him, an elf falls cold after the beast's assault. The towering creature watches the boy vanish from afar. Task complete, the wolf melts into the midnight shadows. Those crimson eyes offer a final, eerie warning. Up ahead, Johann hits an elven military blockade. Every exit is sealed tight. Trapped again, our exhausted hero slides off his horse. Starving and sleep-deprived, he never expected to be prey for the legendary wolves of Aquadan. For 3 grueling days, he's danced with death. Now, he's at his absolute breaking point and can barely lift his blade. Seeing fresh troops, he wonders if his luck finally ran out. Stashed in the shadows, Johann's options are zero. Then, a traveling merchant caravan appears on the road. A desperate plan forms. He'll pose as a traitor to sneak past. If he blends in, he might just survive. Enter Eldons of the Getana Trading Company. An eye-patch-wearing guard alerts Master Eldons to a stranger. He reports a knight clad in heavy steel. Khan, a seasoned mercenary, commands everyone to ready their weapons. But Gaz, the oblivious one, doesn't get the hype. Goran snaps at him to open his eyes. The man's wearing a plate helm and crimson gauntlets. Khan tells the kid to eyeball that sword. He points at the purple hilt, a genuine Dana steel blade. Still, Gaz thinks, a fight is pointless. Irritated, Khan barks for someone to drag the moron away. Another merc yanks him back by the ear, demanding silence. Their leader, Eldons, commands Goran and Khan to prep. With a stone-cold gaze, he tells them to strike on his signal. The duo acknowledges the order. Eldons then maneuvers his men toward our wary hero. Khan suggests unhorsing him immediately. As tension peaks, Eldon steps forward, introducing himself. As the trade company's head, Johann's shocked to see a cat-like beast man. Eldons notes his men are twitchy, sweating bullets. The leader feels the pressure. Johann realizes these guys are on high alert. He needs to play it cool. He claims he was jumped by bandits and needs safe passage. Our hero begs Eldons to hold his dogs back. The leader chuckles, noting a merchant's constant vigilance. Johann plays along and drops a deal. He offers to join their group as extra muscle. Since he's broke, he'll trade protection for food and a place to sleep. Eldons weighs the offer. Seeing Johan's obvious strength, he seals the bargain. They're bound for Marcel, a long haul. Our hero offers thanks, but he's never heard of the place. Eldons announces the new recruit, but his face turns grim as he whispers a dark order. Kill him if he breathes wrong. The mercenaries nod, feeling the weight of the suspicious situation. Relieved, Johan focuses on the upcoming checkpoint. The caravan rolls out, with our boy in tow, but lurking nearby, an elven scout spots the group approaching their position. The wolves of Akaton emerge from the shadows, forcing the caravan to a screeching halt. Johan grips his sword. It's showtime. He needs to ghost through this checkpoint. Eldon steps forward, introducing himself as a merchant from the Katana Trading Company. The soldier's face pales instantly. The Marcel name carries so much clout that even the Emperor wouldn't dare interfere. The guard's arrogance vanishes, replaced by a desperate plea for help in catching a traitor. Johan's heart sinks. The target is him. This entire blockade was a trap set specifically to snare him. An elf points a finger, barking an order for Johan to unmask. Panic flares, but Johan keeps his cool. He quickly weaves a lie about a contagious skin condition to keep his helmet on. The soldiers erupt in cruel laughter. They mock his supposed deformity, demanding he show his hideous face for their amusement. The leader's eyes narrow with lethal suspicion. Trapped with no exit, Johan realizes diplomacy is officially dead. He prepares for a bloodbath, but Eldon suddenly roars at the guards to end this pathetic charade. He demands to know if they dare insult his company's prestige. The elf stammers, trying to backpedal before the beastman's fury. Eldon threatens to file a formal complaint with their superior. He makes it clear he'll deliver the grievance in person. Fearing the wrath of the Marseille branch, the guard buckles. He barks at his men to let the caravan pass immediately. The soldiers grumble but clear the road. As they pass, the elf mutters that the boy just cheated death. Johan finally exhales. As the wagons roll forward, he feels like he's finally slipped through the enemy's fingers. He glances back one last time. The elven sentries remain frozen in the distance, watching their departure with cold intensity. They watch until the caravan vanishes into the horizon. By nightfall, the group sets camp, and Eldons assigns the watch. Eldons reviews his ledgers by the fire before calling it a night. He spots Johan and tells him to get some rest. With no duties tonight, Johan is beyond relieved. His body is absolutely trashed after the relentless stress of the journey. He collapses onto his bedroll, fading into a deep sleep. A nearby mercenary watches as the boy finally passes out. He's out cold by the fire, slowly recovering his strength. But lurking in the suffocating darkness, eyes are watching. A hidden figure lurks in the trees, a twisted, sinister grin spreading across his face. He's got a lethal plan in motion. He whispers to his squad to prepare for the impending slaughter. The order is given: surround the camp and strike fast. Meanwhile, Johan's mind drifts back to his brutal soldier days. He relives a training exercise where his tactical genius crushed a superior force. Even then, his intelligence was legendary. That brilliant maneuver earned him a 5-day pass, a rare reward for such an outstanding display of strategic prowess. He remembers saluting his commander with unwavering pride. Back then, he truly believed he was built for military life, but the nostalgia quickly turns sour. He remembers the toxic, old-fashioned culture and the rigid traditions he hated. The soul-crushing shifts were bad enough, but the pathetic salary was the ultimate insult. It was a total joke. In his dream, phantom hands grab him. He realizes there's no escaping this cycle, no matter how far he runs. The nightmare shatters, and Johan bolts upright in a cold sweat. He's back at the camp, gasping for air. He realizes it was just a haunting memory. He sits up, his entire body aching from the phantom tension. Suddenly, his instinct screams something is wrong. The full moon hangs high, illuminating a silent, looming threat. Without warning, a rain of arrows whistles through the night air. Johan looks up, eyes tracking the incoming death. Adrenaline surges as he moves with lightning speed. In a flash of pure reflex, he snatches an arrow mid-flight. His pupils dilate as the gravity of the situation hits. That was a kill shot meant for his skull. This isn't a random raid. The soldiers have finally tracked him down. The hunt is officially back on. Frustrated but focused, Johan leaps to his feet. He fills his lungs and lets out a deafening warning cry. He screams for everyone to wake up and fight. Eldons and the mercenaries snap into action, weapons drawn. The story rewinds to 5 minutes before the ambush. We see the mercenary Gaz grumbling in the shadows. He's complaining to Khan about doing all the heavy lifting. Khan has zero patience for the rookie's whining. He barks at the kid to shut his trap before he regrets it. Gaz is stunned by the sudden hostility. He doesn't understand why his partner is so on edge. Khan drops some cold truth: never trust a stranger. One wrong move on guard duty and you're a corpse. In this business, acting without thinking is a death sentence. The veteran asks why the young man even bothered joining their crew. Gaz's temper flares instantly. He snaps that if he knew they were this cowardly, He'd have stayed home. Khan's eyes flash with pure rage. To the mercenary, the kid's acting like he's got a death wish. Enraged, he prepares to beat some respect into the brat. Suddenly, our hero's roar rips through the camp, and death follows. A hail of arrows plunges from the sky. Everyone hits the dirt. Ken lunges to shield Gaz from the lethal rain. As the first volley fades, he realizes there's a momentary opening. He barks at the kid to snap out of it and back up the squad. But Gaz loses it. Screaming like a coward, he bolts, deserting his post and leaving Ken absolutely fuming. Goran rushes over, checking for casualties. The young warrior warns him it's an ambush, and the arrows are just the start. Ken searches for the deserter, but the leader's safety is top priority. Goran points out Eldon shivering under the carriage. "Lock in!" Goran yells. Just then, our protagonist steps up, his voice carrying the weight of a true commander. He orders them into a defensive circle to hold the line. Unity is their only hope against an invisible enemy. But Ken isn't having it. He glares daggers, questioning who this kid thinks he is to be giving orders. The mercenary scoffs, claiming they handle their own, leaving Johann to survive the chaos on his own. Johann can't believe the stubbornness. Still, Goran rallies the men, ordering them to raise shields and brace for impact. "Give me a shield," Johann demands. He's seen hell before and knows how to handle a blade in a pinch. But Eldon snaps that he gets nothing. Our hero is left hanging, feeling the weight of their total lack of trust. Suddenly, Johann's eyes sharpen. His senses scream something far more dangerous is creeping through the shadows. A heartbeat later, a grotesque horde of bandits erupts from the darkness, charging the camp with murderous intent. These aren't the wolves of Aquitaine. They're just bottom-tier scum, but they're coming in hot and hungry for blood. Without hesitation, Ken bellows for a full-force counterattack. Johann is stunned if they leave. The carriage is defenseless. All-out war breaks out. Blades clash as mercenaries curse the cowards, attacking under the cover of night. The bandit leader smells blood, screaming at his goons to use their numbers to crush the resistance. "Hold the line!" Goran shrieks, but a bandit lunges, grabbing his face and silencing him with a brutal blow. Ken's voice cracks in pure desperation as he watches his captain fall into the clutches of certain death. The bandit raises his rusted blade, ready to deliver the final, cold execution to the fallen mercenary. Not on his watch. Johann flashes forward, his purple blade glowing with an otherworldly, lethal radiance. With a savage flick, he unleashes a wave of violet energy. The bandit freezes, blinded by the terrifying light. The arc shears through air and bone, bisecting the criminal instantly. Goran watches, paralyzed by the display of power. Drenched in crimson, our hero stands tall. Even he's surprised by the sheer devastation his sword just unleashed. Red runes flare to life on the blade, soaking up the blood. The bandits stop dead, their faces pale. "A demonic sword?" the leader screams. "How could a lowly guard possess such a cursed, high-level relic?" Sensing their fear, Johann seizes the moment. He declares himself a noble of the legendary Yeast family. The mercenaries are floored. Ken's jaw drops, unable to process the bombshell our hero just dropped. Goran is spinning. Was he a noble all along? He prays the name Yeast doesn't bring a world of trouble. Panic ripples through the bandits. Crossing a noble means a slow, painful death. Johann's blade pulses, surrender or perish. "Choose now," he coldly demands. "Lay down your steel, or I'll personally send you to the afterlife." The air is thick with dread. He tells them to choose wisely, for their lives hang by a single thread. The leader is dripping sweat, his confidence shattered. Clatter, one by one, the bandits drop their weapons in defeat. A mountain of steel forms on the blood-soaked ground as the criminals throw up their hands in total surrender. Johann doesn't lower his guard. He commands Goran to round them up and bind every single one of them. "If anyone flinches, end them," he warns. The authority in his voice leaves no room for argument. With the threat neutralized, Johann turns to Eldon. Goran is sweating, terrified they've offended a high-ranking noble. Eldon promises to fix it. After all, they were the ones who welcomed a noble into their humble caravan. He walks up to our boy, offering a deep, sincere thank you for saving their hides from the slaughter. The beastman offers a reward, sheepishly admitting he would have given Johann a shield if he'd only known. Johann just smiles. He doesn't need gold. He's just relieved the group made it through the night alive. Eldon is stunned by such pure selflessness. The two stand together as the starlight finally washes over the camp. Our protagonist casually inquires about borrowing a shield next time. Eldon instantly agrees, swearing to provide him top-tier gear. The hero demands to interrogate the captives. Now that his true status is out, the leader steps aside. Dropping formalities, he adopts a rougher tone. He boots one prisoner, snarling at them to start moving. The bandit doubles over, reeling from the protagonist's strike. Coldly, our hero demands to know their true identities. He asks why they ambushed the caravan. The man confesses they're remnant soldiers from the fallen Brits' bloodline. He recounts the tragedy from months ago, a brutal betrayal that wiped their entire family off the map. He reveals the infamous wolves of Akaton led the slaughter. They resisted, but the noble executor's arrival sealed their doom. Goran's heart skips at the name Noble Executor. The captive identifies the monster as none other than Kirimov, the Emperor's personal bloodhound. The bandit grovels, begging for mercy since he didn't realize a noble was present. He claims the army hunted them like animals, and even their northern allies turned their backs on them. While he admits theft is a crime, he argues it was their only desperate shot at survival. Our hero probes for deeper motives. The bandit insists they only targeted the caravan for the Merchant Guild charter. Eldons explodes in a fury, screaming that the charter represents sacred trust. He's sick of their constant chaos. Johann tries to calm the leader's rage. Meanwhile, our hero flashes back to Kirimov's words about betraying the crown. Jaw clenched, he finally connects the dots. A grim realization strikes: the Emperor is orchestrating this entire purge. The tyrant just needed a scapegoat to erase the nobility. He curses the knight for falling for such obvious lies. He realizes these men are just pawns crushed by power, just like him. Yet, their crimes remain undeniable. Deciding their fate is a heavy burden. Khan asks for orders, volunteering to beat more intel out of them. But our hero waves him off. They've already spilled every secret worth knowing. Suddenly, Gas lunges with his mace, ready to execute a prisoner. Khan moves like lightning to intercept the blow. The mercenary shields the bandit, making it clear he won't let the kid cross that line. Gas is baffled, demanding to know why his revenge is being blocked. Khan warns that they lack the authority. Since they surrendered to a noble, their lives belong to the law. Gas backs down, feeling the weight of shame. They grovel before the knight, sobbing and paralyzed by terror. They can practically feel the Reaper's blade nearby. Khan grips his hilt, turning to Johann for the final word. One nod and their heads will roll. He waits for the execution order. But shockingly, our boy commands them to unshackle and liberate the captives. The bandits are floored, weeping with pure relief. Gas, however, is absolutely fuming at the mercy shown. He demands to know why these criminals are walking free. Our hero ignores him, addressing the bandits directly. He acknowledges their struggle, but warns that banditry is a dead end. He even mentions his own past labors. Eldons is stunned. The idea of a highborn noble working a common trade is completely unheard of. Goran scoffs, noting he's only here for the fat paycheck. Our boy grants them life on one strict condition. The bandits bow frantically, swearing to never forget this grace. With that, the caravan prepares to move out. Our hero hopes for peace, but from a nearby ridge, a predatory silhouette watches their every move. It's stalking the caravan, a massive, crimson-eyed predator, the very same beast that crossed paths with him before. Before reaching Marcel, the group decides to catch their breath in a small village called Lutzbach. News reaches the village chief. Eldons of the Katana Company has arrived. The leader rushes to greet the beastman. He welcomes him warmly. Eldons returns the energy with a massive hug, celebrating their reunion after many months. The chief embraces his old friend, worriedly asking if the journey was fraught with any danger. Eldons mentions the bandits and the Emperor's rising tyranny. The chief quickly shushes him, looking around nervously. He warns that walls have ears when speaking treason. Still, Eldons brags that they delivered the goods safely, all thanks to a noble's help. The chief is skeptical, mentioning a fake noble he chased away weeks ago. He laughs about kicking the fraud out. Eldons chuckles, knowing his friend hasn't lost his blunt, reckless streak. He brushes off the chief's impulsive nature, assuring him that their current noble companion is the real deal. This one is incredibly brave. The chief is baffled to hear the man didn't even demand a reward. He realizes having a true knight in the village is the perfect deterrent against the local bandit threat. A true knight could solo an entire squad without breaking a sweat. Impressed, the chief invites our hero to linger in the village for a while. Eldon declines, but the chief's persistence sparks a heated debate. The beastman senses his buddy is trying to poach his companion. Suddenly, the chief pivots the conversation, demanding to know the noble's whereabouts. Meanwhile, our hero is slumped under a tree, looking completely drained. Hunger gnaws at him as he nears the brink of collapse. Just then, Goran approaches with an urgent matter. He reaches out, offering a mysterious prize. The mercenary drops a heavy bag of coins into his palm. It's the bandits' loot. He explains that liquidating the thieves' gear netted them a massive haul of cold cash. Confused, our boy asks why they aren't sharing. Goran insists the victory was his alone. He pauses, considering his options for this small fortune. Then, in a shock move, he shoves the gold back toward Goran. Stunned, the mercenary argues the spoils are his reward, but our hero claims he's already taken his cut, flashing only a few measly coins. He plays it cool, though internally, he's weeping over the lost riches. Still, safety in numbers beats becoming wolf bait. Deeply moved, Goron declares they fought like a true brotherhood, bound by blood. Our protagonist flashes one last coin, hoping to seal their bond before bidding them farewell. He prepares to hit the road. Goron watches in awe, struck by the undeniable dignity of a legendary knight. Later, he rallies the mercenaries for a massive announcement. He reveals that Johann was impressed by their grit, and it's time for a payout. Hyped, he orders the crew to line up for their hard-earned cash. The mercenaries are floored, barely processing this unexpected windfall. They stare at him in utter, stunned disbelief. Suddenly, the crowd erupts. They roar in triumph, thrusting their fists into the air with pure joy. Chants of our hero's name echo through the streets. Meanwhile, he finally finds sanctuary at a local inn, clutching his blade and wearing a ridiculous nightcap. But at midnight, the door begins a slow, ghostly creak. The handle turns. The door inches open. Yet, despite the intrusion, our hero remains lost in deep slumber, unconscious and vulnerable. Then, crimson eyes gleam in the shadows as an assassin readies a lethal finishing strike. Dagger drawn, the killer lunges not for his throat, but to pilfer the legendary blade from his side. Suddenly, Johann's eyes fly open. He catches the thief's wrist in a crushing, iron-tight grip. Pure panic ensues. He didn't expect those glowing eyes to be staring back. Our protagonist's voice drops low, demanding the truth. Is he one of Karambob's lackeys? The assassin loses his cool, desperately shrieking to be set free. Johann's patience snaps. He yeets the intruder, pulverizing a wooden cabinet. The thief groans, battered and broken. He whimpers, coughing up dust. Coldly, our main character looms over him, pinning his leg to the floor. The man howls for mercy, realizing Johann is a monster in human skin. But let's rewind 5 minutes. While the village chief snores nearby, two shadowy figures creep up the inn's creaky wooden stairs. Meet Pra and Gamson, two fools plotting a heist. Gamson boasts that Vulin, the village's heavy hitter, is moving in to crush Johann. Meanwhile, Pell, the local horse obsessive, is busy boosting our hero's prized stallion outside. Pell is starstruck by the majestic beast, struggling to keep it quiet. Inside, Pra whispers a nervous question. Is that noble's blade truly worth a fortune? Gamson scoffs, asking if he's ever seen steel bisect a man. He swears he witnessed that very blade carve through plate armor like it was warm butter. A knight is powerless without his steel, he claims. Then crash. Vulin is suddenly eating floor, paralyzed with terror. Glowing blue eyes pierce the dark. Before he can react, our hero drags the screaming fool toward the exit. Gamson stands frozen, his brain short-circuiting. Pra grabs him, shaking him violently as he demands to know the deal. What just went down? Gamson's only response is a frantic scream to bolt if they want to survive. They've poked a sleeping dragon. Who is this monster? Suddenly, the groggy village chief stumbles onto the scene. He demands to know what these idiots are doing. Ignoring him, the boys vanish into the moonlit night. Pell is waiting with the getaway horses, relieved they made it. But Gamson screams at him to move faster. We need to go now. Confused, Pell asks about Vulin. Gamson snarls that their heavy hitter is already toast. Vulin is dead meat. He barks at the crew to mount up before the Reaper catches them too. They needed to vanish, and fast. Pra hesitates, unable to abandon Vulin, but Gamson drags him away, paralyzed by the fear of a noble's wrath. Boom! A violent blast levels the inn. Terrified, the three of them gaze back at the burning wreckage. Their jaws drop in pure shock. There, amidst the smoke, Johann descends onto the roof, wreathed in a sinister crimson aura. With eyes burning like embers, Johann fixes a gaze of absolute rage on the boys. Suddenly, the perspective cuts to a desolate corner of the Southern Empire. A heavy mallet hangs in the air, poised for a final, crushing blow. Armored guards hammer a grim notice onto a post. The decree is clear. These peasants dared to rob a noble, and now their kin must pay. This ruthless judgment came directly from the Emperor of Holy Cardarian Bezofurk. A curious guard wonders what crime could justify such cruelty. The answer is sickening. They were sentenced to death for stealing a single chicken and 3 measly eggs from Baron Deverub. The guard freezes, horrified. A whole family wiped out over something so trivial? In this empire, life is cheaper than dirt. Under the silver glow of a full moon, we find Eldons, the caravan leader, inside a quiet tavern. He's just trying to decompress with a meal and a drink when a frantic messenger bursts through the doors. Boss, we've got a major crisis. The man gasps out that Gamson was busted trying to rob Johann. Eldons chokes, spraying his drink everywhere in pure shock. This is a disaster. He was actually hoping to recruit Johann for their journey to Marseille. Taking a shaky breath, the beastman forces his racing heart to slow down and find an exit strategy. Bring Gamson to me immediately, he barks. The rest of us? We've never seen that kid in our lives. The messenger marvels at Eldon's ice-cold nerves. Little does he know, the leader is absolutely screaming internally. He has to play his cards perfectly to appease the noble. Left alone, Eldons begins plotting his next move in the shadows. Elsewhere, a blue banner dances in the moonlight above the village hall. Inside, the chief is finishing a council meeting when a villager crashes in, screaming that things have gotten ugly. He reveals the boys' suicidal attempt to rob the noble. The chief explodes in rage, cursing the boys for their utter stupidity. He slams his fist down, rattling the table. As the villagers spiral into a panic, he commands them to scavenge every gift possible. "Throw in a slave as well," he demands, before coldly ordering the boys' execution. Their parents collapse in despair, begging for mercy. "You can't do this," they wail. Losing it completely, the chief hurls a chair at them, screaming at their sheer ignorance. "Have you forgotten the emperor's law?" he bellows. With a face like stone, he realizes they must strike before the noble retaliates. The iron law is absolute. Anyone who dares touch a noble's wealth faces the removal of their tongue, or worse, the entire bloodline swinging from the gallows. Terror paralyzes the room. They've seen entire lineages erased for less. The chief reminds them of the recent horror, where a family died over a chicken and 3 eggs. "What do you think will happen to us now?" he screams. A noble's insulted pride means a death sentence for the whole village. One man desperately suggests, appealing to Count Jarpan, the lord of these lands. But the chief just lets out a hollow, bitter laugh. To nobles, we're just pawns in their game of honor. He thrashes the table again, screaming for them to wake up to reality. One mother weeps silently, her world crumbling. The rest of the villagers can only stare at the floor in defeated silence. "You think I enjoy this?" the chief barks. He insists this sacrifice is the only way to save the village from total annihilation. The decision is final. That night, the community huddles around a massive tree where the 3 boys sit, bound and broken. Sobbing fills the air. Johann watches from the shadows, his expression grim as he adjusts his bandaged hands. He realizes things have spiraled way out of control. He initially pegged them as professional killers, but they're just dumb kids blinded by his flashy blade. Note to self, keep the legendary loot hidden next time. His plan? Give them a mild heart attack, then set them free. Johann sighs, looking absolutely drained by this entire mess. The chief creeps up with a trembling grin, asking if he's satisfied. Johann snaps back, his patience hanging by a thread. "Is this your idea of village hospitality?" Johann sneers. Instantly, the chief hits the dirt, groveling at his feet. He begs for forgiveness, frantically blaming his own failure to keep those idiots on a leash. Johann decides the prank has gone far enough and tells the mob to pack it up. But then, the chief grabs a blade, eyes wild with a disturbing resolve. Johann watches in horror as the old man screams, "I will personally wash away this stain on your honor." Johann freezes this lunatic, is escalating things into a bloodbath. The chief is possessed, adamant that anyone who insulted a noble must pay with their very lives. Roaring in fury, the chief plunges his blade toward the boy. His mother lets out a blood-curdling scream, paralyzed by terror. She shields her eyes, waiting for the end. But the steel is halted mid-air, crashing harmlessly into the dirt with a heavy thud. With eyes burning with rage, our guy growls, "Didn't you hear me the first time?" He'd snatched the chief's wrist, locking the strike in place. The old man trembles, completely petrified by the hero's overwhelming intensity. The onlookers freeze, stunned that a noble would intervene. An eerie silence falls over the crowd as they watch the standoff. Bathed in moonlight, our guy stands tall, barking at the mob if they've all lost their minds. He demands they seek restitution through coin, not blood. The crowd is speechless, unable to wrap their heads around his bizarre, money-focused proposal. Internally, he cringes, wondering if he made his obsession with cash too obvious. He quickly shifts gears to save face. "Let me repeat myself," he declares with stone-cold conviction. "Tell me, how can pride ever outweigh the value of a human life?" He discards the dagger and orders the boy's release. Overcome with relief, the chief drops to his knees, sobbing in gratitude. The villagers follow suit, bowing to Johann and swearing they'll never forget the mercy shown to their children today. Parents rush forward to embrace their kids, their tears of agony turning into cries of pure, unadulterated joy. The chief silently begs Eldon for forgiveness for his doubt. Nearby, Gamson mutters an apology to Johann for being a fool. An elder scolds the troublesome youths, reminding them they're only alive because a saintly noble decided to step in. Suddenly, Kay the mercenary looms over Gamson. The boy snaps, demanding to be untied from this cursed, unlucky squad. Gamson's arrogance hits a boiling point. Infuriated by the brat's mouth, Kay lunges forward, seizing the boy's head with crushing force. "Just relax," Kay whispers, his eyes devoid of emotion. "It's easier if you don't struggle." Gamson starts stammering, his soul leaving his body. "What are you saying?" Gamson whimpers. But before he can blink, a spray of crimson paints the night sky. Our hero whips around, sensing the shift in the air. He stares at the grisly scene, his heart sinking into his chest. His blue eyes glow under the moon, But behind that serious mask, his brain is short-circuiting. He has no clue what just happened. In a flash of brutal violence, Kay ends Gamson's life right in front of the horrified crowd. Despair flickers in Gamson's eyes for a heartbeat before his body collapses. He hits the dirt, a lifeless shell in a pool of blood. Kay stands there, casually holding a gore-slicked blade. Our hero explodes in shock, screaming, "What the hell is wrong with you?" With an icy gaze, Kay calmly states he was simply following imperial law. He executed the rat who dared covet noble riches. Johann is fuming. He bellows that he specifically asked for zero trouble, but Kay just stares back, unbothered by the outburst. Gaz and Eldon shrink back, terrified by the hero's visible rage, but Kay turns his focus solely on Johann. He explains that mercenaries live by a code of honor. Gamson's betrayal had stained their entire unit's reputation, and the debt had to be paid. The killer begins wiping his blade clean. Our hero watches, the weight of the cold-blooded execution settling heavy on his soul. Kay offers his own sword to Johann, inviting the noble to deliver judgment if he disagrees with the execution. Our guy is floored. Cold sweat beads on Johann's brow as he realizes the mercenary isn't bluffing. Kay is literally gambling his life on his sense of duty. His hand shaking, Johann reaches for the hilt. Eldon and Gaz hold their breath, sensing the absolute tension radiating through the campsite. But instead of striking, our hero pushes the steel away. He lowers his head and actually apologizes, admitting he failed to respect Kay's traditions. The leaders, Gaz and Eldon, are absolutely floored. They can't believe their ears a noble saying sorry to a commoner. Even Kay is stunned into silence. Our guy tells him to sheath the weapon, and the mercenary complies, visibly shaken by the gesture. Once the dust settles, Johann thanks the group for their cooperation. The tension finally begins to dissipate. Later, Gaz chews Kay out for his reckless stunt, while Eldon watches Johann with a newfound look of absolute admiration. The Beastman realizes this isn't just any noble, this guy is built different from the rest. He sees a man who is courageous and fair, yet completely lacking that typical, toxic, noble arrogance. Eldon decides right then that Johann must become an ally. As the sun dips below the horizon, the caravan moves on. Our hero pulls out a gifted pocket watch, grumbling to himself. He only took it because it looked pricey. Turns out, the thing is totally busted. He looks at it sideways, feeling a surge of looter's regret for his poor choice. To top it off, he realizes he's got another mouth to feed now. They soon arrive at a massive wooden gate. A voice calls out his name. The chief approaches with tokens of gratitude, and our hero notices the watch again, wondering how it fits in. The chief then offers a special gift, a slave who knows the entire region like the back of his hand. Johann is horrified by the poor soul's condition. Despite his shock, he ultimately accepts the gift to save the man from his misery. Johann commands the group to scrub the boy clean and fill his stomach. To our hero, the whole slave dynamic feels completely cursed. Back at camp, the mercenaries toss Johann thanks for the feast. Our protagonist settles in by the flickering embers. With a bright smile, the youth calls him master and serves Johann his meal with genuine gratitude. Johann shuts that down instantly, telling him to ditch the title and just use his name. The kid looks totally flustered. Our guy is low-key lost. He finally asks how someone this sharp ended up in chains. Staring into the flames, the youth admits his past is grim, but Johann insists he's heard plenty of horror stories. The boy gives in. He reveals he was once a thriving arms dealer in the East. That changed when a noble forced him into a gold smuggling ring. Johann is shook. That's usually a one-way ticket to execution. The kid explains he was desperate for cash to save his dying siblings, so he took the risk. But it was a setup. The noble himself snitched, wearing a fake mustache to stay anonymous. Johann realizes the noble just used him as a pawn and trashed him. The boy wasn't even given a trial. Boiling with rage over the imperial injustice, Johann asks if his siblings at least got the help they needed. With tears streaming down, the boy confesses a guard stole every cent. He breaks down, sobbing an apology. Claiming he just has dust in his eye, Johann watches the boy, his expression turning cold and calculating. It hits him this world is predatory and sick. If you're weak, the nobility will bleed you dry. No one fights back, not even the Blitz family soldiers who turned into bandits just to survive the night. From the sacrifice of Lutzbach's children to Goyd's tragic fate, the pattern is the same. Goyd was treated like disposable garbage by the elite. Johann begins to question if this cycle can ever be broken. The situation feels pathetic, but Johann remembers he's also a hunted man with a target on his back. Snapping out of it, he calls to a startled Goyd, declaring that from now on, they're brothers in arms. They're surviving this together. Goyd is stunned and blushing, but a mercenary suddenly interrupts the moment. A monster is on the prowl. Johann lets out a weary sigh. He can't catch a break for even a second. He bolts toward the danger with the soldier, leaving a bewildered Goyd behind. Driven by his vow to survive, Johann joins the mercs lurking in the brush. A sinister red glow pulses nearby. It's definitely a beast. With a steel-cold gaze, our hero readies himself for the upcoming clash. Someone hisses for him to take cover, but Johann just lets out a calm, knowing smirk. He tells them it's chill and orders the mercenaries to stand down and lower their steel. He flashes a confident grin, telling them there's zero need to worry. Kay and Gaz are losing their minds. Johann doubles down, put the weapons away. He then strolls solo into the dark woods to investigate. The mercs are stressed. Monster hunting is a death wish without top-tier skills, and the risk is insane. Their job is to protect Eldons, but Johann senses a familiar, bone-chilling aura creeping closer. A blood-red mist swirls as a soul-crushing pressure emerges from the shadows. Glowing eyes pierce the darkness. Johann recognizes it instantly, the black wolf of ill omen. It's the same beast from before. He remembers how the wolf previously clutched up by shredding the enemy soldiers. The creature could end him in a heartbeat, but Johann smiles, sensing no bloodlust from the predator. He calls the beast out into the light. With a low snarl, the massive wolf steps out from the gloom. Face to face with the glowing red eyes, Johann thanks it for the save. The mercenaries are absolutely floored. They wonder if Johann is some legendary beast tamer, as the wolf begins sniffing his face. Suddenly, the monster starts licking him like a giant puppy. The mercenaries' jaws hit the floor. Amidst the chaos, Johann tells everyone to breathe. This wolf isn't a monster, it's an ally. He identifies it as the Dawn's messenger. Hearing this, Eldons, the leader, lights up with excitement. Eldons clearly knows the name, but Johann is completely lost, not catching the Beastman's vibe. Eldons recites an ancient Eastern Empire ballad to explain the legend of a legendary warrior. This warrior named a wolf, the Dawn's messenger, and the beast knelt before its blue-eyed master. Together, they blazed a trail across the continent, eventually bringing peace to a world at war. Tragedy struck shortly after. For 3 days, the wolf grieved before wandering off to find a new hero. This mythic beast was the Dawn Messenger, sporting piercing blue eyes. Johann asks if the rumors are true. Eldon clarifies that the wolf's name shifted once the tale reached the Southern Empire, blurring the truth. Ancient lore claims the beast smites evil and bows to a true hero. The Beastman insists this is facts. It's all etched in the Empire's oldest scrolls. Johann is shook to learn his companion is a literal legend. Grinning wildly, Eldon reaches to pet the wolf, but the beast snaps back with a terrifying, toothy snarl. Terrified, the Beastman retreats, realizing it's safer to keep his distance. Suddenly, the realization hits him hard. The wolf only shows its soft side to Johann. Eldon then recalls a crucial detail from Eastern myths. Naming a divine beast turns it into your familiar. He starts wondering if Johann is the prophesied legend. Eldon asks if the wolf has a name yet. When Johann says no, the leader urges him to name it. Johann freezes. If the legends are legit, something insane is about to go down right now. He considers naming it Keta, but a flashback of his last encounter with Karamov stops him cold. He locks eyes with the wolf and firmly declares its name, Karamov. Eldon's jaw drops as he screams, "Why choose such a weird name?" Suddenly, a crimson aura erupts around the wolf, its eyes flaring. Johann recoils as the beast reacts violently. A blinding sapphire light suddenly swallows the creature whole. A celestial pillar of light crashes from the sky, slamming into the wolf for a legendary transformation. Both men watch in pure awe as thick, blue mist begins to blanket the entire clearing. Darkness consumes them. When the smoke clears, Johann is absolutely floored by the wolf's epic new evolution. Behold the Dawn Messenger, Karamov. A blue aura pulses from its paws, crackling with pure energy. Power surging, the beast bows to its new master. Johann slowly reaches out to touch his legendary familiar. Smiling, Johann tells Karamov he's got his back. He turns to Eldon, stunned by the sheer insanity. Eldon nods, then suddenly drops to his knees, prostrating himself before Johann in total reverence. He stammers that he never thought he'd witness a living myth manifest right in front of him. The Beastman admits he knew Johann was special from day one, chosen by a divine creature. He dubs him the hero of hard times, leaving our protagonist cringing from the sudden, intense glazing. Gaz and the mercs are shook. Even Goyd can't believe his master is actually a legendary hero. As the crowd bows, Johann awkwardly apologizes, insisting to Eldon that he's definitely not a hero. He's just a nobody from a minor family struggling to survive. Plus, he's actually a fugitive. He's running because he took out the actual Karamov. Eldon is speechless as Johann explains himself. Determined to repay the favor, the leader asks to introduce Johann to a powerful trade organization. He suggests the Martial Merchant Guild. Johann is confused, having never even heard of Marseille before. It's a sovereign trade city outside the Emperor's reach. Johann realizes this is his best shot. Grinning with relief, the leader thanks him. Johann starts weighing the massive potential waiting in Marseille. While Eldon belts out the legend, Johann feels the weight of that hero of hard times title. He mulls over the name, knowing deep down he's just a drifter fighting to stay alive. The night's warning of a painful future echoes. Still, he grits his teeth and readies himself. Life was never easy, but this time, he's forging his own path, one grueling step at a time. With fresh resolve, the group treks toward Marcel. Finally, the massive gates of the great city appear. Johann is floored by the city's scale. Eldon suggests a shopping spree in this merchant's paradise. Suddenly, the pup bolts down the street, barking wildly. Johann chases him, wondering what's happening. A nearby vendor spots the adorable furball and decides to toss him a tasty snack. Johann realizes that to everyone else, this legendary beast just looks like a harmless, fluffy puppy. A flashback reveals the truth. Before entering, Johann was arguing with the wolf's massive, glowing blue form. Addressing him as Karamov, Johann explains a giant beast would trigger alarms and demands he wait. The beast just lets out a menacing growl, bearing razor-sharp fangs in the shadows. Suddenly, a surge of blue mana erupts, enveloping the massive wolf in a blinding transformation. Our hero stands frozen in total disbelief. As the light fades and the dust settles, a tiny, fluffy puppy remains where the beast once stood. He blinks, wondering if the titan actually shrunk. Could this be a divine hidden ability? Golden doesn't hesitate, scooping up the adorable furball with a wide grin. The MC sighs in relief, realizing this pocket-sized creature won't cause any chaos. Back to the present, the little pup starts turning heads everywhere. Golden frantically tries to keep him chill as they walk. Suddenly, the boy pulls the hero aside, whispering a game-changing idea about buying a massive storage bag. However, he reveals their pathetic budget, just 4 silver coins. Is it really worth blowing their savings? With a smirk, the young man grabs a single coin, ready to dominate the city markets. He guarantees a total haul. The hero just chuckles, telling the kid to relax. After all, 1 silver coin is basically pocket change. Can he really pull this off? Flash forward 50 minutes, and a mountain of gear sits on the cobblestones. The boy cheers in victory. Our protagonist's jaw drops. He actually bought the entire shop with 1 coin. He reveals his strat. First, a sleek utility pouch for his master, then a heavy-duty pack for himself. Talk about a pro negotiator. He even flipped a trashed helmet for an insane, high-tier profit. That hustle paid off. He snagged everything plus a free-throwing mace just by buying kitchen essentials. He even walked away with extra change. A magical scroll confirms their net worth actually increased. Seeing the profit, our hero thinks back to the loot he buried in the woods. Is it a gold mine? He makes a mental note. If things get dicey, he's digging up that treasure and cashing out. Stunned by the efficiency, the MC asks if the boy secretly loves the merchant life. With a nostalgic smile, the boy admits he misses the trade. He remembers the dark days of slavery. Back then, life was nothing but cold fear. But now, serving our hero, he finally feels human again. He's no longer a prisoner, but a partner. He bows, thanking the master who changed his destiny. The MC smiles, truly touched. He tells the boy he's glad they met, and will rely on him. Beaming with pride, the boy vows to never let him down. You can count on his business genius. With their gear sorted and spirits high, they finally step into the vibrant streets of Marcel City. After a lifetime of struggle, our hero finally tastes pure bliss, starting with some legendary, sizzling street meat. It's a total flavor bomb. He remembers the days of chewing on dried meat that tasted like dirt. This stuff literally melts. He also recalls the agony of never being able to wash the grime off. The constant itching was a nightmare, but now, he can soak in a steaming hot bath whenever. No more sleeping on jagged rocks or in the freezing mud. Those survival days are officially over. In Marcel, he's got the luxury of warm, plush blankets. His eyes sparkle with a new dream. This city is a literal paradise. He decides right then. He's making this place his permanent home. Peace was the goal, but the universe had other plans. The next morning, the square seemed deceptively calm. Our MC is vibing, crushing another meat skewer. He walks with his crew, soaking in the peaceful atmosphere. But suddenly, his instincts scream. He stops dead, his expression turning cold and sharp. He spots 2 locals whispering in terror. Bandits? Again? The peaceful vibe is instantly shattered. Word on the street is Dave's daughter was snatched. The raiders took everything, leaving only fear behind. The hero listens closely, still munching his snack. The locals are terrified of what tomorrow's news brings. Peace is a pipe dream with thugs on the loose. The boy notes the heavy, suffocating city vibe. Suddenly, a beastly, orc-faced thug starts harassing a merchant, demanding food he can't pay for. He's starving and desperate, a stray remnant from the infamous Akadon wolves, looking for an easy score. He's a lone survivor trying to bully his way through Marcel, still barking empty threats about paying later. But a voice cuts through the noise. Our hero points him out, leaving the elf mercenary totally paralyzed. Recognition hits like a freight train. Seething with rage, the soldier draws his blade for a lethal strike. The Akadon wolves are here. The MC realizes he was followed, and things are about to get bloody. One wrong move here could spark an all-out war. The elf lunges, blade gleaming, screaming for our hero's head. Suddenly, a sapphire streak cleaves the air, a strike so fast and precise, it's almost invisible to the eye. In a heartbeat, our hero disarms the assailant. The mercenary crashes into the stunned crowd, leaving everyone in total shock. A figure on a midnight steed emerges, critiquing the city's shaky peace before locking eyes with our hero. He inquires if the traveler is harmed. With a calm, polite smile, our protagonist brushes off the concern. The rider nods, warning him to stay vigilant before commanding his elite battalion to march forward. As the soldiers advance through the streets, the leader's voice suddenly booms, shattering the atmosphere. Standing tall in the street, he bellows to the citizens of Marseille, instantly commanding every soul's attention. The camera pans across rows of ironclad warriors and steeds, a massive, disciplined legion, unveiled in the square. Amidst a sea of banners, the man introduces himself as Brattle, captain of the legendary Oak Tree Mercenaries. He vows to restore peace, promising his 500 elites will completely exterminate the bandit filth. The young boy beside him glows with excitement, awestruck to witness such legendary warriors in the flesh. Our hero asks of their fame. The boy confirms they're the Empire's finest, an unstoppable elite unit. He glares at the captive bandits, certain the mercenaries were hired for a total, ruthless purge. Stoic and cold, our protagonist remains silent, carefully analyzing the shifting power play before him. He realizes that without that man's timely intervention, his cover would have been blown by the soldier. Exposure meant a death sentence with the Empire's hounds on his heels. Then, a haunting memory resurfaces. From now on, you'll only know agony. He grits his teeth, fueled by a mix of fury and determination. Forcing his composure, he realizes survival hinges on one thing: a solid bond with the Katana Company. He knows even the Emperor hesitates to strike a powerhouse merchant guild without serious consequences. Eldon's high opinion is his golden ticket, yet the dread of his identity being revealed gnaws at him. What if the mask slips too soon? He reaches a grim and final conclusion. They wouldn't lift a finger to save him if they knew the Empire was the one hunting him. If he's outed before securing their favor, he's finished. He tightens his grip, his resolve hardening like steel. He must infiltrate the company and earn their shield. Until then, his true identity stays buried. Suddenly, a feline-eared woman approaches him. "Excuse me, are you perhaps Master Johann?" She introduces herself as Ibelka, a maid serving the prestigious and powerful Katana Trading Company. With a polite bow, she mentions Eldon's high praise and her desire to establish a formal bond. She invites him to their headquarters. Before long, they stand before the company's massive Marseille branch. As the guild's grandeur looms over them, Eldon is busy wrestling with a playful, biting wolf cub. Inside the building, our hero is escorted to a lavish VIP lounge, sinking into a sofa fit for royalty. This is it, the place that could rewrite his destiny forever. Just then, another feline beauty enters. She approaches with elegant, rhythmic steps, acknowledging the glowing reports she received from Eldon. With a charming smile, she requests a formal introduction. "I am Ian," she purrs. She is the powerhouse manager behind the Marseille branch of the Great Katana Trading Company. Her authority over the city's trade is absolute. Our protagonist coolly introduces himself as Johann. "Johann of House Yates," he replies. She suggests they discuss their future over a warm beverage. Our hero agrees. She pours a steaming liquid, a rare, exotic treasure imported from the Mediterranean. With a friendly grin, the manager hopes the rare, expensive brew satisfies his refined palate. He recognizes the aroma instantly. It's coffee. She's stunned by his sophisticated knowledge of the beans. "Few can identify premium coffee so easily," she notes, before her tone shifts sharply to business. She drops a bombshell. They know exactly why he's here. Johann nearly chokes on his drink in shock. Panic surges. Did they somehow discover he's a fugitive, wanted by the Emperor himself? Closing her eyes, the branch manager begins to peel back the layers of their true conversation. With a piercing, serious gaze, she declares, "You carry a massive, dangerous ambition in your heart." Our hero stands there, face beet red and totally lost as the Catwoman drops a sudden bombshell. She mentions hearing rumors from Eldon. Word on the street is, he's a guardian of the weak, who shows mercy even to his foes. In a city crawling with lowlifes, a man of his caliber can only be here for one thing: total salvation. He's completely clueless, but decides to ride the wave and see where this leads. The manager flashes a knowing grin. She purrs that ambition isn't a flaw, but a badge of honor for the worthy. Then, she closes the gap. Their corporation lives to back-driven elites. Our protagonist's eyes light up. The big break he's been waiting for is finally here. Leaning in close, she offers him a direct line to the powerful governor of Marseille. His heart races with pure hype. Imagine having both the government and this massive corp in his pocket. A greedy smirk tugs at his lips. He has to lock this deal down, no matter the cost. Keeping his cool, he thanks her and calmly asks for the fine print regarding this massive sponsorship. The manager reveals that the Katana Company's backing covers their entire global network of premium services. We're talking top-tier dining, luxury stays, and endless vibes. But then, she raises a warning finger. There's a catch. To secure their bottomless pockets, our hero must give her his word on one specific condition. With a deadly serious gaze, she demands he becomes their ultimate blade whenever the company calls. He asks if he's taking out bandits, but she shuts that down. That's low-level work for the Oak Tree mercenaries. They have a much darker mission in mind. Our hero's curiosity spikes as the tension in the room thickens. Flashing a wicked smile, the Catwoman begins to weave her sinister web of a proposal. Rival business districts are catching feelings and causing drama, and it's becoming a major headache for her. Her request is cold: wipe out the competition. And she doesn't just mean the leaders, their kids are targets too. Her eyes turn predatory as she waits for his move. How will our protagonist handle this blood-soaked offer? Stone-cold silence fills the air. He wears a heavy expression while calculating his next move. He stares her down, speechless at the sheer insanity of her request. Cut to the skyline where the sun is bleeding out. Our hero eventually steps out of the headquarters, looking like a man who's finally made his choice. Golden rushes over, hyped to hear how the meeting went, but the protagonist's face is veiled in chilling shadows. No response. The vibe is absolutely suffocating. Panicking at the silence, the boy desperately calls out to his master. Suddenly, a devious grin breaks across his face, shattering the gloom. He turns to Golden with a wild shout. "We're about to secure the bag." The boy just blinks, totally lost by the weird slang expression. Rewind 1 hour to see the actual showdown. Back in the office, our hero flat out rejects the Catwoman's twisted deal. With a look of pure steel, he argues that market monopolies are just part of the game in Marseille. But targeting innocent families? That's crossing the line. His resolve is unshakable as he stands his ground. He shuts her down completely, leaving the manager stunned by his defiance. He isn't some hired killer. He suggests they just act like this conversation never happened. The manager's face twists in pure irritation, but he doesn't flinch, his blue eyes burning with hero energy. Suddenly, she breaks into a wide, unexpected smile. "You passed?" she chirps, leaving our hero absolutely floored. He didn't see that plot twist coming. Bowing gracefully, she admits it was all a loyalty test. He's confused. Was the whole Monopoly drama just a cap? She confirms the Katana Company is actually a clean operation and highly respected throughout the city. The manager wants to stick to the original perks they discussed before the test. The mercenaries will handle the dirty work. He can finally kick back and relax. She reaches out a hand, offering a fresh start. Will he join their ranks for real this time? A confident smirk spreads across our hero's face. He's totally vibing with the new terms. With an hyped shout, he officially accepts the invitation. They lock in the partnership with a firm handshake, a deal that's a total win-win for everyone involved. Back outside, the boy asks what securing the bag actually implies. The young man breaks it down. It means they're about to live like kings on the company's dime. The boy asks if things went well. He confirms the sponsorship is officially a go. Golden beams with pride at his master's legendary success. As the sun dips below the horizon, our hero knows his journey is finally hitting its stride. He figures the bandits are a nuisance, but with mercenaries on guard, the city is secure. At last, his dream life feels within reach, a time to finally kick back and relax. But then, a blood-curdling shriek pierces the air, shattering the peace. The camera shifts to a filthy fly, buzzing over something grim. A lifeless hand, drenched in dark crimson, lies sprawled as flies swarm. Panning up, the street is littered with corpses, while survivors wail in gut-wrenching despair. Our protagonist stands paralyzed, his mind reeling from the carnage. He struggles to process this nightmare, and the sheer number of victims left in the open. Gorn steps up, asking if he understands the situation. The mercenary reveals the bandits have turned savage, ruthlessly slaughtering entire merchant families. They leave the remains behind as a gruesome warning to the city of Marseille. Fuming, our hero curses, realizing the chaos in this city is spiraling out of control. One man blames local failure, but rumors swirl that the emperor himself is pulling the strings. Another scoffs at the idea, insisting his majesty would never stoop to such atrocities. Arguments erupt as the crowd questions the emperor's true nature. Chaos takes over the streets, with everyone screaming over the emperor's alleged guilt. Our hero realizes his peaceful Marseille is dead, destroyed by bandit scum. He wonders why the hell the mercenaries haven't ended this madness yet. At the branch office, a maid rushes in with grim news. The manager asks for word on the Oak Tree mercenaries. She already knows the casualty report. She wants updates on the elite squad. The maid hesitates, admitting all communication with the mercenaries has gone dark. The Catwoman freezes, demanding to know what no contact means. The maid reveals their leader was found in the woods, mutilated beyond recognition. Stunned silence fills the room as the manager processes the horror. The Oak Tree Squad was elite, making their defeat impossible to fathom. She slams the desk, shouting for her maid in a fit of rage. The Catwoman barks an order. Bring the mage of the Eifel River to uncover the truth behind these deaths. We cut to the shimmering, mystical waters of the Eifel River. A shadowed figure dips his hand into the current, peering into the depths for answers. The hooded man mutters that Katana is looking in all the wrong places. Tracking the mercenaries is a dead end. Instead, he reveals the warrior who crushed the Emperor's hound is currently lurking within Marcel. The mage focuses his vision, curious about the young hero's arrival. Back at the branch, under a heavy, suffocating sky, an elder with a flowing white beard appears at the entrance, exuding a mysterious aura. The maid jumps, caught off guard by his sudden presence. She recognizes him as Lord Suetgar and breathes a sigh of relief. The sage grumbles about the grueling trip, while the maid bows an apology. She offers to fetch the manager, but the mage curtly declines. He blocks her path, indifferent to her claims that this is an emergency. His gaze turns cold as he warns her not to make him say it twice. Terrified, she complies. Taking a seat, the sage clears his throat to share his vision. Guided by the river's whispers, he knew his target would be right here. The scene cuts to our hero grinning alongside his wolf pup, cementing him as the mage's quarry. The boy eyes the estate, excited to finally meet Marcel's governor. He heads inside, hoping to impress the leader, and finally leave his life as a fugitive behind. His boots echo with purpose as he marches through the manor's cold stone halls. He wonders what kind of man the governor is, regretful he didn't ask for details earlier. Suddenly, his pet begins to transform, as a strange voice remarks that such a name is unfitting for a legendary divine beast. Our hero spins around, eyes wide in shock. He tenses up, his mind racing. How could this stranger possibly know the truth? The mage holds his gaze as the boy panics, wondering how he identified the beast as a celestial entity. He demands to know the man's identity, but the elder just scoffs at his ignorance. He introduces himself as Suetgar, the sage of the Eifel River, leaving our hero completely baffled. The boy tilts his head, having zero clue what a river sage even is. The elder sighs, simplifying it. He is a mage. Our hero's eyes light up, and he lets out a shout of pure hype. He's convinced this world is packed with real magic, just like the legends. Clenching his fist, he's hyped. He sought a governor, but discovered a legendary mage. Grabbing the old man, he shouts, "It's an honor." He's dreamed of this forever. The mage turns bright red, totally rattled by the kids. Chaotic energy. Suddenly, his gaze sharpens. For someone the Emperor is actively hunting, our hero seems way too relaxed. The elder explains that through magic and the river's secrets, he witnesses every fate. Sweating bullets, the boy asks if he'll be snitched to the Emperor, to face execution. Peacefully, the mage just stares back. And why would I do that? Heart racing, he's stunned by the answer. The old man reveals his name, as the river's secret keeper and a scholar of nature. He ignores political drama, since only the river's voice guides him. He adds, "If I were snitching, I wouldn't have warned you." Our hero nods, realizing the old man's logic is actually pretty solid. Fired up, he begs Lord Suega to teach him the ways of magic. The mage is baffled. No normal knight acts like this. He remembers a soldier mocking a mage, calling him a pathetic scholar. He wonders why this particular knight is obsessed with sorcery. Our hero asks, "How does magic work? Can a regular guy learn it?" This is his shot at becoming a legendary magic swordsman. The elder smiles, saying destiny linked them, so he'll share. But giving it away for free is boring. He challenges the boy. "Chess?" he asks, "or maybe we settle this with arm wrestling?" He prepares to flex, but the maid screams, "Don't use your strength on an old man." The elder scoffs he'd obviously win anyway. "Follow me," he says. "It's not chess. King's games are cool, but nothing beats the famous Game of the Gods." The maid reveals a go board, catching him off guard. She sets down 2 bowls, filled with stones. Our hero's eyes widen as he recognizes the game instantly. Realizing the stakes, he prepares for a high-intensity match of Go. He faces the mage. Looking a bit complicated, the old man chuckles. "Don't worry, I'll go easy on you." With a confident smirk, he thinks luck is finally on his side. Flashback. He was a literal Go champion. Victory is guaranteed. He picks up a stone, thinking that he'll crush this old man. With iron focus, he's absolutely certain that he'll dominate the board. "Very well," the mage replies, making a simple opening move. Grinning, he's ready to win, and thankful for the chance. He grips his piece, ready to claim every scrap of the mage's knowledge. 50 minutes later, the battle rages on, and the tension is insane. The boy is drowning, while the elder is perfectly calm. Covered in sweat, He desperately calls out to Lord Suega. He begs to undo a move. Absolutely not, the mage barks. That's your 5th redo. He's losing it. This makes no sense. I'm actually losing to this old guy. Is this your first time? The mage teases. Even the Sultan won. He stammers. It's just because you're such a great teacher. Blushing but determined. He has one more thing to say. The elder offers a rematch. Win, and you get a gift. Smirking, he asks, like a magic item? He accepts the challenge immediately. How many handicap stones will it take? The kid gets defensive, claiming a 3-stone head start is enough. He grabs a stone, ready for war. But the mage switches gears. Why is a noble so obsessed with magic? The emperor wants my head. I need every edge I can find. The elder sighs. My knowledge isn't meant for that kind of violence. Jaw-dropping news. Our main character asks if magic-infused combat is even possible. The sage nods, recalling legendary warriors who've mastered that very art. Hype levels are peaking. Our hero shouts for the old man's full attention, aggressively pointing a game piece right at him. The sage elaborates, calling mages the true seekers of nature's hidden enigmas. He explains that some find enlightenment through the gale, others through the dancing flames, or even deep within the earth's pulse. Amidst sulphurous fumes, he mocks a fool who claimed to master the secrets of the Black Forest. Then, the truth drops. These mysteries are actually sentient spirits. Mages merely borrow their essence. These entities grant power freely, asking for 0 upfront payment. Yet, their fickle nature carries a deadly cost. He warns the boy, never cross a spirit's will. Message received. Our main character decides to put his magic swordsman dreams on ice, at least for now. Suddenly, the branch manager and her maid burst in searching for Lord Suwaka. The boss starts venting. The maid stammers that the mage demanded secrecy. Suddenly, the Catwoman spots him. Found him. She's about to shout, but stops. Seeing the main character and mage gaming, she assumes our hero is being a nuisance. Her eyes nearly pop out. Seeing them play the legendary game of gods leaves her utterly speechless. Confusion peaks as she hears the great sage literally begging for an undo. She's absolutely losing it right now. Is the legendary sage actually losing? With a smug grin, our main character tells the old man to just take the L already. The manager steps in, officially welcoming the long-awaited Lord Suwaka. She mentions he should have notified her, teasingly asking if he's enjoying the kid's company. The mage lets out a nervous chuckle. He claims he was just killing time with the knight. Now that the boss is here, the match is over. Time to wrap this up. But our hero stays focused, clutching a piece for one final, winning move. Clearing his throat, the sage presents 2 cryptic vials as a parting gift. Our main character's curiosity is instantly piqued. What are these? He asks. Honoring their pact, the mage reveals they hold the ancient secrets of the river, the waters of wrath and blessing. Suddenly, the scene shifts to the Oakwood mercenaries' frontline outpost. Pure horror grips the camp. Mercenaries are howling in absolute terror as something nightmarish lurks nearby. Out of the pitch-black woods, a malevolent silhouette with piercing crimson eyes steps into the light. It's no beast, but a woman sporting a twisted, gruesome grin and blood-red pupils. She's the literal definition of a nightmare. A terrifying, sinister aura pulses around her dark form. These aren't common thugs. The mercenaries realize they're facing a supernatural threat far beyond their league. One soldier is frozen solid, paralyzed by sheer dread. Under the pale moonlight, a blood-curdling scream rings out. Back in Marseille, the vibe at the Katana branch is completely different. What's the deal with these vials? The sage explains that the river has guarded life's greatest mysteries for eons. He spent a lifetime chasing these secrets, but they only surfaced upon Johann's fated arrival. The red elixir mends any wound, while the green one grants the power of total invisibility. With a grateful grin, the boy thanks him. He never expected to score such high-tier magical loot. Talk shifts to the prophecy and the bandit problem plaguing Marcel. The manager seeks the sage's wisdom. She deployed the Oakwood mercenaries days ago, but they've gone radio silent. The sage's expression turns grim. They fell 3 days ago, he reveals. The news hits the manager like a ton of bricks. The prophecy was clear. The oak would break in the southeast. It's confirmed the Oakwood squad was utterly annihilated. No survivors, no chance. This disaster demands an emergency council summit immediately. She requests Johann join her ranks. After a heavy silence, our hero locks in and agrees to the mission. Later, in a lavish, echoing hall, the city's high-ranking council members finally begin to assemble. Among the elite is a man sporting a bizarre, curled mustache and a rather unsettling smirk. He bursts in, dramatically over-apologizing for his tardiness. Meet the eccentric Baron Einbeck. In the Emperor's name, he kicks off the summit, while stylishly twirling that iconic mustache. As the hype builds, our main character is just stuck staring at that wild facial hair. This era is full of weirdos, he thinks, before politely acknowledging the gathered council members. A man steps forward, introducing himself as Velasco, the consul of Marcel. Our protagonist realizes that befriending this power player is his only ticket to survival. The consul offers a formal welcome, thanking Marcel's most influential elites for gracing the gathering. Before the real business begins, he announces a special introduction for a new face among the highborn. Velasco proclaims that the young man hails from the Yates lineage, backed by the heavy hitters at the Katana Company. Our hero offers a tense introduction and a forced smile, while the council members eye him with pure elitist disgust. He sinks into his seat, feeling the suffocating weight of their disdain hanging heavy in the air. Baron Einbeck breaks the silence with a mocking smirk, questioning the pathetic state of the city's mercenaries. He sneers that if they had just begged the emperor for intervention sooner, this mess would be history. This sparks an immediate firestorm, as the anti-emperor faction screams about unfair taxes and royal failures. The loyalists explode in a blind rage, accusing their rivals of high blasphemy as the meeting descends into a shouting match. Our hero can only watch with a forced grin, realizing he'll never truly understand the circus of politics. Anxiety gnaws at him. The room is packed with imperial fanatics, and if his true identity leaks, he's a dead man. While the chaos peaks, Velasco sits in eerie silence before unleashing a glare that could kill, demanding absolute order. His voice carries such terrifying weight that the room freezes instantly. The protagonist is floored by that raw, commanding authority. With the room silenced, the consul's assistant stands to unveil their calculated solution to the crisis. She explains that the leader has heard their cries and formed a plan, a second subjugation force, to strike the bandit's heart. A ripple of shockwaves through the council at the mention of a fresh offensive strategy. Baron Einbeck pivots to praise the consul's brilliance, claiming the emperor truly cherishes Marcel's peace. He offers the full might of the imperial army, sending our hero into a psychological tailspin of panic. Please, reject it, the young man pleads internally. Knowing an imperial presence means his inevitable capture. Velasco offers his thanks but firmly declines, stating he won't burden the emperor during the Northern Rebellion. He emphasizes that the crown is already spread thin handling the traitors in the north. The consul then drops the bombshell. Marcel will form its own elite mercenary unit with our hero in the ranks. Relief washes over the protagonist, yet a nagging suspicion keeps his guard up despite the narrow escape. He notes how suspiciously chummy the consul seems with the pro-emperor nobleman with the mustache. Remembering Eldon's warnings about the emperor's long reach, a wave of annoyance flickers in his eyes. The session wraps up with a tea party invitation, while the mustached noble exits looking deeply troubled. That's when Velasco corners our hero, politely requesting a moment of his private time. The consul wears a disarming smile, and the young man reluctantly agrees, though his mind is racing. He vows that if Velasco is a royal puppet, he's vanishing instantly, already dreading a life on the run again. Lamenting his cursed fate, he follows the leader and Baron Einbeck toward the inner sanctum of the office. Once inside, the noble invites Johann to take a seat and drop the formalities for their chat. Our hero offers a quiet word of thanks while mentally mapping out the luxurious, heavy-set office doors. The leader turns sharply, his eyes piercing as he asks which noble house the boy actually belongs to. Breaking into a cold sweat, the MC doubles down on the Yates family lie. To his shock, Velasco beams with excitement. The consul reveals he knows the Yates name well, famous across the lands for their legendary, high-end liquor. Velasco produces a bottle, calling it a nostalgic treasure from the young man's supposed homeland. He sets out 2 glasses, the crystal clinking as he prepares to serve the spirit of the Yates family. He offers a glass to the hero, hoping the taste brings back fond memories. The protagonist takes it, feeling the pressure mount. Velasco fills his glass to the brim, his eyes never leaving the young man for even a second. The hero downs the drink, faking a nostalgic smile for a family legacy he completely invented. The leader lets out a satisfied laugh, but the atmosphere shifts from friendly to frigid in a heartbeat. Velasco asks if the Yates family survived the cold wind of the emperor's bloody purge in the north. The memory of his destroyed home hits the hero like a physical blow, his face hardening into a serious mask. The consul continues, noting how many noble houses were driven to banditry, and how one specific person is wanted for high treason. Our protagonist freezes as the boss drops a bombshell. That bloodline belongs to none other than his own family. He feigns ignorance, claiming he's never heard of them, but the leader's piercing gaze digs right into his soul. Suddenly, the leader chuckles and excuses his rambling, leaving our hero spiraling in total